Why, hello there! This is totally how we actually began this thing, and I didn't have any technical difficulties whatsoever. Nope, not at all. Hey, chat, how we doing? As you can see, we are starting things off right. On a good foot. Okay. Now, as we continue with our journey through Dark Souls, we can see over here the fortress where we fought Moonlight Butterfly a few streams ago. And over here is the door we opened using the magic crest. Now, do we still have the key? I think we do. Yeah, we do. Now, we'll actually see this crest is actually Artorias' crest that we can see associated with him in other places, like his shield and I think his back as well, with his cape. But suffice to say, again, it confirms the idea that this door and stuff was created by the surviving Ulasilians after his heroic death. We'll be learning more about that as we continue on. I played Dark Souls 3 today. Cool, John Kick. How you liking it so far? Now, I don't want to do too much of Darkroot because I want to try out Quelaag today. Hopefully beat her and continue onward. I've also swapped out my weapon because, well, I was feeling like I was losing my way as a thief. I gotta remember, I'm penitent, but I'm still a thief. I'm a man who likes swift, deft movements. And this ghost dagger does exactly that. It's also more powerful than my Morning Star, surprisingly enough, and it still has bleed, so it's like, okay. This weapon doesn't require any dex, though, right? It seals with strength. Yeah, it doesn't have any dex, though. I'm just not a dex person, I guess. Hey, Josh Hall. Hey, lovely. Hope you're well today. And good to know that we're absolutely no difficult case started. Yep, none at all. Saint Trina. Hi, Loki. First time catching a stream. How you doing? I'm doing okay, Trina. How you doing? You dreaming well there, Mikola? I don't like how everything in 3 is shiny. Everything has to be shiny with newer graphics, don't you know? Oh, Loki. We're trying to say my name, Josh Hall. I was like, oh, hi, I thought you were saying lovely. Whoopsie. Jagged Ghostblade is a great weapon early game. I used it in my SL1 through up to Ornstein and Smo. Wow. That is quite a bit. Anyway, going forward, we shall look at the bandits. As we can see... Oh, whoopsie. That's not what I wanted. Okay, well, I just wasted a humanity. As we can see... members of these bands of thieves, of this covenant, as we will soon see. Well, not soon, probably in the future, because I don't want to do the covenant just yet. But as we can see, they have partial invisibility with some of their rings and things like that, though not all of them. Now, let's see. Do I want to do this legitimately, or do I want to cheese them all? Decisions. Ow, ouch. Yeah, that's what happens. In for an Estus, out for an Estus. I like how it looks side to side. Now, this female knight here has the armor of a typical low-ranking knight, although she has a elite shield suggesting she is from a long and storied noble family of knights, much like Petrus and Baldur. Now, what's cool about this is there's actually 2 of these knights here. They're copy-paste, and what you may not have known is that at least one of these knights is in fact named. They're a named character. The character is only named in the Japanese version, in Japanese guides and the like. Her name is Americus. I don't know why. Whoop. Yeah, we're gonna... I guess we're just gonna go for the cheese method. That's a lot of damage. But, so yeah, I don't think it's this night. I think it's another night, which we will talk about why shortly. But yes, the idea is that, this copy-paste knight is at least one of them is an actual character. Now, as we can see, these band of thieves consist of a knight, a Vinheim sorcerer, a mountain bandit, cleric. Again, we can see the east-west shield used by this cleric, reminding us again of the Way of White and Empire. Though there is something special about this. Oh, cleric and another thief. Hey, I'm supposed to be doing the backstabs around here. Oh, that did not work out. But the idea is that we can see that this band of thieves is more than just a bunch of common bandits. They come from all walks of life. Now, of course, we can see how they're defending the area ahead. Really trying to stop us. Let's see, does this still work? Yep, it works. Where are the rest of them? Oh, okay. It works! Unfortunately, these thieves are not very smart. Their AI is kinda dumb. Hey, cleric. I hear another one of you. Where are you? Oh, it's the thief. Come on. Come on, boyo. Yep. Yep. Well, you really know how to pick them, Alvina, really. Oh. Nice. Oh, okay. There we go. That's the backstab I want. Yes. There we go. Mountain bandit here. As we can see, there's this cat. We'll talk more about the cat kitty in a later stream, though, because again, just want to do a little bit of Darkroot and then go back to Blighttown. Might even try out Dragon Zombie, just for the lulz. Where you be? There's one. Now this is the other copy-paste female knight, who I believe is Americus. Reason being that we can find her next to another named character. Right over there somewhere. Where are you? There you are. We'll look at the other one in a sec. Oh. Oh, okay. Cool. So that's how the strong attack works. Yeah, but that's not gonna work with, not gonna work there. Gotcha. Now, let's see. Where are my souls? Oh, it's in the middle of the part. I guess we're gonna be killing you again. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that guy's gunning for my back. He sees those shoulder blades and he's like, gotta jab it. Gotta jam my blade right between them. Understood, folks. how you want to play it. Oh, so... I don't know how I get the multi. Do I spam it? Oh, I see. So it's when you do it twice, I guess. Or maybe... Nope, no, it's not when you do R1. Yeah. I guess it's just if you keep repeatedly doing it. Interesting. Alright. How about you, bud? Oh. Alright. Oh, nice. Yeah, okay, so it's when you do it twice. Oh, I thought I messed up there. This is probably better still. As cool, as neat as that is, I'm not seeing myself using it that much. Yeah. Alright, Americus! Where are you, Americus? You incredibly minor character, no one would even care if you went unnamed. Americus! Where's your buddy? Where's your girl? Okay. Oh, okay. She can poise! Okay. Okay, you're just gonna poise everything I do, so... Alrighty, if you want to play it like that. I guess we do it this way. Now, if I recall correctly, the knight doesn't respawn. So maybe that one is supposed to be Maricus, and this one is supposed to be someone else, but... we will see. You coming? You coming? Oh, okay. I guess we're just gonna have to do backstabs then. Okay. There we go. Oh, okay. I got Estus and apparently you don't, so... Oh. Oh, okay. Most jank battle imaginable. Come on, just expose your back and let me get the backstab. Oh. Oh, come on. Oh. There we go. We shall now go this way. Now, where's your partner? I know she's right there with you. Come on. Where are you at? There you are. Dang, she knows how to use a shield. You gonna do anything, or? Oh, I see, you're just gonna let them do it for you. Gotcha. Understandable. Oh. Alright, so we go here. Oh, okay, game. Sure, that's not a real hill. It's a fake hill. It just looks like it's a real hill. There we go. Oh, I was so much better when I was two-handing that against you guys. Game. There you go. Oh, there you go. Alright. Where are you? Oh, Hunter! Big mean Hunter! Stop hiding behind invisibility. I'm being hunted, chat. She's waiting in the shadows to strike, looking for my moment of weakness. Okay, if I gotta bait you out, I will. Oh, there you are. Oh, okay. Man, you're really prepared for my range. Exactly what I wanted. Come on, get over here, you little... Come on, piece of crap. Go. Twin humanities! Black bow of Ferris and Ferris's hat. Now again, as we can see, woman gives us twin humanities after we kill her. Again, reinforcing this point that I've been making about that in past streams. Now, gosh, there's so many of you. And you guys are so tanky compared to your other garden counterparts. Come on. Oh, okay. You gonna let me talk about Ferris now? Okay, cool. So, this has now, there's often been confusion about us receiving this hat from that character, because Ferris is explicitly called a he here. His hat is universally popular among children. However, the Japanese does not actually use the male pronouns. He uses gender-neutral pronouns, as I've talked about in past streams. The point being that Ferris is a woman, as shown by the fact that in Japanese guides, the hunter that we just killed is called, again, the bow hero Ferris. And, of course, she is wearing Ferris's hat and has Ferris's black bow. Which, again, gives us the idea that, again, she is the bow hero, or the heroic archer, as the localization renders it, Ferris, in reference to, of course, Paris, the famous archer of Troy. The hat, of course, sort of gives us that Robin Hood vibe, where she is incredibly popular, and so therefore her hat is becomes sort of the fashion. Stories being told of this great hunter. Again, we have the idea that hunters, especially the most famous of which, become hunters to kings. You can imagine that Ferris followed a similar path with her arrows and the like. She had a skill that was said to rival Hawkeye Goth, or Go, as it's pronounced in the Japanese version, but the localization pronounces it Goth, so I guess we'll go with Goth. Anyway. We done? We done here? There we go. God, just prune the bushes. So you slaughtered Robin Hood? Yes, I killed Robin Hood. No more folk tales for the children. But as we can see, Ferris did ultimately perish. Perhaps a hunt went wrong, she became undead, and then she came to Lordran. As we can see, though, she, along with that priest, that Vinheim sorcerer, that mountain bandit, and those two knights, Americus and the other one, have given up on living in the burg. Instead, they choose to live out in this rural forest, the backwood, as it were, literal backwoods, in order to steal from those trying to go to the grave from through the forest. There we go. Again, much like the Elite Knight set, is a reference to how Oscar was once going to be encountered here at once upon a time. We also get the Eastern set, belonging to, of course, an Easterner. This is obviously, you could have acquired this obviously anywhere, but this is the reason it is found here, is because we can, in fact, meet another Easterner who wears that armor, Shiva. So again, we get fun little references galore. You will see that this is the type of quote-unquote meta humor that Miyazaki and company like to make, either as for the purpose of foreshadowing, or just to make a cheeky joke. Again, think the Reaper scythe you can find in the catacombs, despite it being a farming tool, as the description points out. There's our Hydra friend down there. Now the Hydra, its official name is the Lake Beast in the Japanese version. Which, yeah, seems about right. As we can see, though, it has multiple snake heads, giving us the idea that snakes, of course, are very similar to dragons, and we'll talk about that more as we get certain rings and the like. We can see that the lake is sourced from this river flowing down. We can actually see where this river comes from in the DLC, though it's actually being dammed up during that game, or at least was in the process of being dammed up. Unfortunately, that dam project didn't survive the end of its country. What a shocker. Oh. There we go. Coomer bait thumbnail. Listen, I'm a big appreciator of Quelaag's Bells of Awakening, okay? It really lets me, really brings out the whistle. Moving right along. Oh. So again, as we can see, the localization will sometimes not even get the gender of characters right. But we will endeavor to persist on despite this. Thankfully, later games do correct this mistake. They at least try to stay gender neutral when describing Ferris, with especially Ferris's hat and stuff in later games. Of course, Dark Souls 2 even introduces the idea of an entire goddess who is inspired by Ferris. Because again, Ferris is female. Across the bridge, where's the cats? There they are. As we can see, cat's very similar to Alvina, Prowl here. Though Alvina is, of course, white, and these cats are black. Or darker gray, I should say. Thank you, Bleed. Really helping me out there from being aggressive. You see more cats coming? This gives us the idea that these cats are native to this forest, which will be very relevant as we go forward into the Tale of Lucille. Oh, I don't know if I want to deal with two of you at once. That sounds like a load of hurt. You done? Goodness me. Okay. I guess not. Very well. If I can't separate you, we'll just do this. Nice knife. Thanks, Sneed. Thanks. I really like it. I enjoy it a lot. Why did the localization get it wrong in the first place? There's a lot I could say to that. Because the localization is not striving to be accurate, it's striving to get a paycheck. And it's the only thing that would encourage them to do better would be, of course, public exposure, which I'm doing, though I'm just a small guy on the internet. They don't really care what I think or what I say. But the more popular these games have got, strangely, the localization quality has improved. Funny how that works out. The wild popularity of Dark Souls starts showing a marked uptick in the localization quality over time. So, again, and finally we get Elden Ring, which, as I've always said, localization is pretty okay at that point. I don't know, chat. I'm thinking, this seems like that's just gonna lead to death. Is there a reason the cats look so weird? I assume from knows what cats actually look like. Again, when they make designs, the idea with these big-mouthed cats, besides having sort of that Cheshire-like grin, is there could be an explanation for why they look the way they do. But in general, it seems that cats, that they are a cat species, like it or not. I want a proper shield to deal with Hydra, because Hydra's just going to be a pain in the ass otherwise, and I don't want to lose 28k souls. But again, as we see through the forest, deadly. Very, very deadly. Now, I think we can get maybe, like, a few level ups out of this. What are our souls looking like? Okay, yeah, I think we can definitely get 3 level ups off this. Now, so far, with my dagger, having more endurance is really great. The more I can hit, the better. So, we're gonna keep on doing that. Yeah, let's get our endurance up. And bleed resist is going up. Equip load. Let's see. I can't tell if I'm fast rolling or not. It feels like this is fast rolling and the other's not, but I really can't tell. Move that. We don't need this. Obviously, we got the poise breaker. And this will be needed for going forward. Yeah, I think this will be fine. I don't think we need Havel anymore, especially if I'm just using a dagger. You forgot to tell people to buy the book if they know about cats. You know, that's very true, Sneed. I haven't grifted yet, so again, if you want to know even more, you can always purchase my book, 2 volumes detailing the lore of Dark Souls with a proper understanding of the original Japanese. Be able to get the most complete, consistent, and just generally coherent take on the Souls lore you've ever possibly seen. Oh. Yeah, I get you. I get you, bud. So check the link in the description. You'll be able to find the webpage, be able to go to the store page from there. We will be changing the link on the webpage, so that way it just redirects you to the store page automatically. You can buy your physical edition if you want to read the actual pages, but if price or waiting on the pre-order, because it won't be able to ship until next year, is too much for you, you can always buy a much cheaper digital edition, which is also available right now. So check it out. Your support is appreciated.
Well,
Yep. Alright, so, I kind of been sticking with my armor, so I might want to stick with it all the way. What's this got? This where it goes great with Dax. I can use both. I guess we could keep this bow, because, you know, might as well. Hellkite. When do I want to deal with Hellkite? That's the question, because I want to get rid of his, I want to get rid of his tail, so I'd rather shoot it off than try to risk losing it other ways, but that might be a problem. Oh. There we go. Are you gonna talk to Shiva so he meets you down in Blighttown? Not this stream. Again, I don't want to join Alvina's Covenant till later, because if you leave, it becomes a pain in the butt. So we're gonna first stick with, we're still first gonna do like Chaos Servants and stuff. We'll join other Covenants later. Alright, so, how fast do you guys die? Oh, one hit. Oh, I rolled into that. Yeah, one shot. You love to see it. Now, last stream, I apparently picked up one too many Firekeeper souls. Lautrec just suddenly decided, you know what, it's time to go up to An Orlando. I'm gonna take this soul and be gone with ye. As a result, we had lost our Firekeeper. We've received her outfit, though, like I said, this is most likely just a quote-unquote quest reward, as it were. It's not supposed to be taken as a, her actual clothes we're stealing, because obviously she's still clothed when we revive her. It's thought to have once been the white hood of a maiden. Again, the term maiden here means a saint, a saintess, a holy woman. The idea being is that, much like Rhea, our Firekeeper Anastasia, as we'll eventually learn, was once a holy woman of the way of white. Now the idea, this says like smoke and ashes. The Japanese just tells us it's ashes. That's the reason why it's got this ash gray color. For those that don't know, the Japanese word for gray literally is ash color. So there's the idea that little bit of wordplay here obviously becomes especially relevant in Dark Souls 3, but that's beside the point. We'll talk about that later. From the idea being is that the ashes of the bonfire that she's been tending to, protecting, all that, have caused it basically to become completely filthy and dirty, so that way it doesn't have that white color anymore. Where is it? I think it's the bottom. Yeah. We get the idea here that there's the point that this is a bloodstained skirt, so it points out how at the bottom of the hem and stuff is where all the blood is. So the idea is that the Japanese, the English here puts as like perhaps its former wearer was maimed to prevent escape. The Japanese is more so saying that it was the idea that was something cut off in order to prevent escape, and it doesn't clarify, of course, who did the cutting off. Was it an outside force or was it the owner itself? And we'll discuss that more when we revive Anastasia now. Let's see. Do we have anything we need to talk to you about? No. How about you?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. You got nothing to say about losing the bonfire, huh? Okay. Okay. Well, since I apparently have a death wish, let's try Dragon Zombie first. Nope. I do need to upgrade my armor and shield at some point. I dumped a lot of Titanite into other stuff that really isn't that important, to be honest. Now that I've switched out to this dagger, but it's fine. As I said last time, we have the idea that a archdragon, as identified by his physiology, again, 2 arms. He once had 2 legs, presumably, but they've rotted off of his body and fell into the ravine, clearly. Ouch. And at least 2 wings. The minimum requirements to be an archdragon, or again, archdragon being the localizations term for the ancient or old dragons, as they're talked about. Localization in this game will commonly just abbreviate them to the everlasting dragons, going by the common descriptor that they're used in item descriptions of them being unperishing. They don't change with the passage of time. They're immortal. As we can see, this immortality is manifest in the fact that despite the fact that this group of adventurers have apparently slain the dragon, though got killed themselves in the process, the dragon body is rotting, but it's not truly dead. Ooh. Again, we have the idea that these are Astorans. Oh. Ouch. Ouch. Now, of course, we get the idea that these were Astora knights from their sword and shield and things like that, giving us the impression that, okay, these knights, some of them seemingly egged on by the common stories of dragon slayers. You can tell from the dragon crest shield here, belonging to a high-ranked, again, or elite knight of Astora, as localization will often call them. In this case, the shield was designed for fire, because, you know, dragon crest and all that. But what's happening here? Controller. Controller, relax. There we go. Oh, controller's having trouble again, chat. That's not good. What did I do? I did nothing. Astora straight sword is really great, isn't it, Ellie? Let's look at that here. Now again, the term here, they use unknown knight, but this is the same idea of the nameless knight in reference to Oscar. So again, we have this idea that Oscar was likely supposed to originally give you this weapon. As we can tell, it is characterized by its blessing. Again, highlighting how Astora is an especially religious nation. As we talked about in past streams, the idea that this most likely originated from the battle with the Evil Eye, a creature which has obvious associations with the dark, likely a product of the dark. It terrorized and attacked Astora. It was defeated, as evidenced by the ring existing. Its soul split up and put into those little, into that little gem. And as a final consequence, we're not going to do a Dragon Zombie most likely then, because he can one-shot me and don't want to take that risk. We'll have to upgrade my armor and stuff first. Anyway, the Evil Eye, once after its defeat, and Astora sort of just learns, okay, thank you, gods, it's thanks to you and your great blessings and providence that we're alive, so we shall now become, we will double our efforts to be extra pious. And, well, we can see the results. We see various characters from Astora are associated with knights and religion. Again, think Solaire, though he's a bit of a part of the an off-brand religion. Still in the sun-worshipping realm. And of course, everyone's favorite, Anastasia. And then, of course, Oscar himself gives us the idea of a knight with that holy blessed shield and weapon. Now, the idea that a dragon zombie, an archdragon that was in the valley there, likely perhaps leader of those wyverns, commanding them, you could say, is in this valley, and the fact that the wyverns themselves shoot lightning is very curious indeed. We will talk about that more when we get to Anor Londo, however. Oh. There we go. You mean nothing to me. You're just a free 500s. Ah, dang it. Woo! 1, 2. Nice. Hey, Dreadriser? Dreadriser? Yeah, Dreadriser? Dreadraiser? Grossly incandescent, exactly, John Kick. Astora is grossly incandescent. Oh, dang it. There we go. More dung pies. Now we head back to Blighttown. Now, let's see. There's where we got the key. We're gonna want to rest at the bonfire, so we'll go back that way. Now we've done, I think, all the stuff on this side of the water wheel system. Water wheel, quote unquote. I should say it's more the dog wheel. It's not even water, not even a hamster, just dog. Darn. Did I mess up? I feel, yeah, I messed up. There's Yolva. Sorry, girl. My bad. Didn't mean to go this way. Actually, can I make... No, I can't make it across that way. Oh, I have to go across the branch. That's right. Gotta deal with all the toxic players. All the toxic non-player characters, rather. Alright, we don't want... I don't got range. You gotta come down here. Let's get rid of you. God, I hate how it constantly adds stuff on its own. Alright. Again, as we talked about before, these so-called crag spiders are in fact, these crag spiders are in fact the diseased of chaos. They are the citizens of Blighttown who have been transformed by the powers of chaos. Similar to how we see how the dogs are being bred with chaos power in order to make them little fire-breathing pups. We could see how there seems to be a certain part of Blighttown, at least, who are in allegiance with the forces of chaos. Most curious. Alright, where's my bonfire? Oh, I didn't get my humanity from the zombie that killed me. Oh well. I'm not going back up, so... Well. Let's make use of this. The cruelest thing about Blighttown has to be putting the bonfire on the opposite side of the frozen swamp with Quelaag. Yeah, I suppose. It could be worse, though. My big problem is that we don't have Stakes of America in this game yet. Please, make a remake. Add, I don't know, just add little, like, bonfire effigies, right? They're fake bonfires. They're invisible until you go through the boss fog and experience the boss for the first time. If you interact with them, they'll let you return to your last bonfire automatically, but they basically let you skip runbacks. I'd love it. Really. Let's see. First Halloween. Quick question. Is there any lore reason the new Londo ghosts need a transient curse to fight versus the ghosts in Dark Souls 2 and 3? Yes, because the ghosts in New Londo aren't, spirits they aren't souls in a spirit form the same way that the ghosts in Dark Souls 2 are. They are the actual physical citizens of New Londo, who in their resentment and grudge, their strong feelings about being, you know, killed, flooded, sacrificed for the greater good, these residents want to escape the seal. But they can't. Obviously, Dark Race are trapped down there, Four Kings are trapped down there. But those who were killed in the flooding and those like that, they want, their feelings of wanting to get out is manifest in them becoming the ghosts. The ghosts are physical beings. You can cut off their hands as evidenced by the transient curses. Those transient curses are hands we cut off that are cursed, and therefore we use what little curse power in the soul, like what little souls with the curse attached to it they have left, we sort of gather on by like holding that hand and using that. So we become cursed by extension for a very brief period until the curse and the thing burns out. And thankfully, the curse doesn't last long enough for it to spread to us and become permanent, unlike, say, the ghost's weapons. The idea being, of course, is that these ghosts are the physical citizens of New Londo, and they just turn themselves, they make themselves incorporeal for the purposes of them escaping the seal, and of course, obviously, any type of physical matter, and by that same token, to be able to basically become immune to attacks. We interfere with that ability, ability produced through a curse of their strong emotions, through, again, ourselves being cursed, and our curses kind of cancel each other out in that regard. Stakes America of spoiled people. I like the complete this stretch of the stage aspect of Demon Souls and Dark Souls ALR games. No, I hate this. I think it's absolutely unnecessary. It was never a good portion of the entire Souls experience. Do you prefer to murder Anastasia by getting the Firekeeper soul in Blighttown, or by killing Quelaag? Do you prefer? Let's see. Generally speaking, Ellie, I think I would prefer to have my Firekeeper at Firelink as long as possible, but it really doesn't matter, right? Like, it's not the biggest deal, because again, Andre at the old church is not that far away, so you could just rest there, and obviously you have to go through Sen's Fortress to get to Anor Londo, so it might even be better to rest there first, but again, I don't mind either way. It's not like it's the worst thing in the world. Putting the ghost skin over your own. I mean, the ghosts phase through walls, so they aren't conventionally physical. They are. They can hit. Yes, they are conventionally physical. Their weapons are physical. They have physical hands. Again, the transient curses are physical hands you cut off from them. They make themselves that way. You can see this when you are in fact, blocking things like that, and they have to force themselves through their shield using some of their powers. So, yes, they are, in fact, physical entities. We'll talk about that more as we get rid of the flooding of New Londo and talk about some of that. Hi, Vens. Good to see you. Yeah. Good to have you in here as well. Alright, I think we're all prepared to keep going forward. Let's go this way. Yeah, I get you. Actually, you know what? This is the time where we need to add this. We're not going to look at this for a while, so... Yeah. I should have done this first. There we go. Lautrec killing the Firekeeper makes the player go to Andre's bonfire, so they're closer to Sen's Fortress. This is the start of my 200-page essay on why Lautrec is good. Lautrec's actually the good guy, obviously, then, clearly. He's just trying to help you in his own Lautrec way. Again, we can see some of the vermin that breed in this poison swamp. I hate Lautrec because people kill him early to get his ring when he should only drop if you invade him. That's kind of true. That's for sure. Would definitely encourage less people just kill him right away. But to be honest, I think a lot of people don't care for his quest enough to like. I don't think people cared if he dies or not early. Especially if you've experienced his reference back in Demon Souls. Well, I guess the thing he's referencing would be the more accurate way to put it. Oh, you made a mod like that, then? That's cool. Yes, come on. Dang it. Darn. Come on. Come on, you little leeches. Oh, darn. Well, that was just me having bad positioning. You're the goat, no cap. Oh, I didn't. Darn. I didn't actually improve my thing. Okay. This is what I get when I get distracted by you guys. I need to remember to actually do stuff while I talk. Darn, multitasking. How does it work? So what makes Dark Souls 2 Ghost not born of grudges and curses? Welliger, the guys in the walls of Undead Crypt, etc. Welliger's not really born... you can say Welliger's born of a curse, but it's not a curse of resentment, that's for sure. He's more so trapped, as we can see, by the final moments of desperation, fear, etc. Just general freak out during the chaotic time when Vendrick sort of disappeared in the middle, at the end of the Giant War. As for the ghosts in the Undead Crypt, you can make an argument that it's a product of necromancy there. Or something similar. As we find that they generally try to hide in walls, act as guards and the like for the people of the Undead Crypt. And there's also, I think, the one or two that you can also encounter in Drangleic Castle, but, you know, that's among many of the things that Vendrick apparently brought home from his explorations. That's true, I love the Dingy set. Oh yeah, the best reason not to kick Lautrec is for the Dingy set, which is actually one of the better sets in the game. That's true, I do like Anastasia's set. The Chandra's presence seemed to have cursed Drangleic Castle. Here's the thing, that's a completely different kind of quote-unquote curse that you're talking about, Night Scout. That's that's specifically a dark curse, because they separate dark curse from petrification curses. They make them separate things. Again, curse status in this game is technically, in the Japanese, called death by curse, versus curse status in Dark Souls 2, which, of course, obviously, you don't necessarily die by the curse, you just get cursed multiple times as you hollow and stuff because of the darkness. So, yeah, completely unrelated. And she especially, like, Finito cursed that one group that also did so. Wasn't exactly a curse, but that's more so with special invasions and necromancy and keeping them alive forever. As, you know, quote-unquote living dead servants. Also, New Londo's ghosts would hide in the walls and floors too. Yes, but the context is completely different there, Night Scout. They're not doing it on guard duty for another power. Again, they're the typical Japanese... They're literally designed to be the stereotypical Japanese earthbound spirit produced through resentment and grudges. Again, you can see so many Japanese horror films to that effect, especially with the women ghosts. Okay, looks like nothing here except forward, so we'll go this way. Looking over here. Large Titanite shard. Thank you. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, goodness me. Okay. Look at the horde! Gosh, honestly, dang it! That curl went right out of my range. Darn. I should have kept running a little forward and did it. Darn. I know how grudges can make a ghost. That concept even gets mentioned in stuff like Zelda. The Undead Crypt just seemed very informal in how it got people in it, and zombies rise up in droves. Well, it wasn't always informal. Again, this is not a Dark Souls 2 lore play, so again, I'll just keep it short. The Undead Crypt in Dark Souls 2 is the explanation for... It's basically the graveyard of New Londo. It was created for the purposes of giving undead who weren't criminals a place when they quote-unquote died. So that way, they'd have a special graveyard to make sure that those darn stinking hollows will stay dead. So it was a formal graveyard originally. obviously, per the events of, as of Dark Souls 2, it's a bit far-flung and still does its job, despite the fact that no more New Londo for a very long time, and no more, yeah, we can just ignore you. You don't matter. And no more regular supply of New Londo bodies as a result. Whoop. There you go. Alright. Oh. Okay. Tree. Darn tree. We don't need to go over here, I don't think. Because I think once we got the items, that's all fine. Oh, that's cool. I got the green Titanite here. Wasn't expecting that from this run, huh? Oh. 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 Oh, that was close. That could have ended real badly. Alrighty, we done here, leeches? There we go. Server and the Butcher's place. Wow, this place was really love things that leech health. I wonder what that could be. If you were undead, would you rather be out about eventually going hollow and murderous, or would you think it better to be locked in a mausoleum or tomb of some sort like that smith in New Londo? I think generally the existential fear of hollowing is probably worse than anything. I mean, you can argue that when you're hollow, you're already technically dead, right? Like, everything that made you you is gone, right? In a technical sense. Just because your body's alive doesn't mean you are, but again, Demon Souls struggles with the same concept. But I do think that, I would rather, I do think I would rather someone put me out of my misery than just lock me up and let me slowly go crazy. I don't think I'd be able to deal with the stress. That would make me hollow faster than anything. You all done? One thing that has always confused me, how do hollows die if they're immortal and just keep reviving when killed? How are they ever buried or turned into skeletons, ghosts, etc.? Obviously, what we talked about earlier, curses can obviously affect what happens to hollows. Dark Souls 2 explores that with several of its enemies. So that's one way. We also see that touched on a little bit in this game. So there is that way in terms of how an undead, though again, not necessarily a hollow, will essentially escape the immortality, become something more mortal. But the general concept of a undead and a hollow is that you really don't know, right? Like, the idea is that when we kill our characters, they're suppressed and they're done for good, quote-unquote. And obviously, undead curse is something that is so dangerous that most enemies will assume that when we kill them, it's not like, okay, I die, I'm gonna come back, I'll be fine. You're probably gonna be a hollow at that point. The problem is, okay, how do you keep that hollow from rising up again and again and again, right? We obviously very rarely see characters who we kill ever come back as a quote-unquote hollow. Oscar's perhaps the only example. Others we see are people who we know go out, they probably got killed out and wherever they were, and then they hollowed, or they went, obviously in case of like Crestfallen Warrior or something, might have just lost heart and hollowing finally took them or some such. Again, interesting to note. Just a plain, regular plank shield. Nothing to see here, folks. The idea, though, is that when you use, like, say, holy weapons, that helps deal with reviving enemies like skeletons and the undead, though, as I've said previously, that does not get reflected in terms of the game mechanics, because obviously holy weapons would be broken if they could deal with us undead, quote-unquote, player characters in PvP. Oh, we want to get that, huh? Okay, so we'll do this. Oh, another green Titanite shard. Nice. And then there's also the case of you just kill them until they're gone. Eventually, again, a character, Sieglin puts it best, as we will meet her later on. You just gotta keep putting them down as many times as it takes, right? If the person rises back up, you just kill them again and again and again. Eventually, there'll be no more soul to burn. So now, as we can see, this unassuming corpse Has an illusory wall right next to it. Then we get a chest, and we're like, oh, okay. Oh, twin humanities. Huh. Someone, likely a woman in this case, just leaves behind their humanity. Huh. Abandoning one's humanity. What an interesting concept. Oh, well. Oh. But that's hiding something even deeper in. Now, as I've talked about before, this idea of the Great Hollow, the idea being is that this arch tree in the poison swamp has naturally hollowed out. It's been killed. We kill, shit killed the tree. When you have this terrible swamp filled with feces and disease and all manner of toxic material that breathes in there, eventually it killed the tree. It's no longer got any leaves and stuff, and now it's just this hollowed out shell that we can go down. Now, we're not going to do that today, but might as well light the bonfire. If you could actually kill hollows, then why lock them up in an asylum to await the end of the world? Because it's part of the mission. Again, at least Oscar, like, in our part of the world, the undead mission is, you go from the asylum to, Lordran, right? Now, presumably this applies mostly to just Astora, because again, this is something that Oscar heard from his family, and it's, obviously he's an Astora knight. And the idea that Astora is relatively close to Lordran would make sense, especially given the ultimate religiosity it has. The point that I'm trying to make, essentially, is that when we are locked up, it's being done for the purposes of a mission. And it's better to lock someone up if you can't make sure that they stay dead, right? Because, again, you don't want to risk getting killed by a hollow, and you don't know if it's truly dead or when it will die. Now, you would think that you could just do something like, say, dismember or cut up a hollow. Well, as we can see, it doesn't matter how you cut up or dismember a hollow, it can still come back, even necessarily in pieces. Again, Dark Souls 2 explores that idea a little bit more. So the only thing that could then work is like, well, maybe you could then burn a hollow. Now, Dark Souls, this game doesn't really explore the idea of, like, burning in a hollow until it's just ash. Obviously, Dark Souls 3 does, though, and we learn, okay, that doesn't work either, so that's why cremation has become a thing. So the only option is, hey, we just want you to stay dead in the ground like everyone else. Well, okay, we either lock you up, try to keep you safe from everyone else, and then, again, as part of the mission, some of those locked up will hopefully be able to escape. They shall persevere through their unholy monstrosity. Or, if we're, or, let's say that you're, like, say like the Divine Blacksmith or whatever, and like you lock your friend up because you maybe aren't able to kill him, more so than you don't have the heart to do so. It could be both. Okay, in that case, it's better to just lock them up than have to deal with the problem, right? Because you don't want to risk getting killed and then you becoming among the dead and possibly an undead and therefore soon to be a hollow yourself. Because again, if you turn back up dead and you still have your hollow friend in the area, well, that's gonna be suck. That's why the undead curse is such a problem, because it's very much like the a zombie epidemic in other of those films of that genre. You just have the good fortune that the zombies might not necessarily be like true monsters right away. First time I played Dark Souls, I got so lost in Lower Blighttown that I found the Great Hollow before Quelaag. Hey, if it works. Yeah, I found the walls by accidentally rolling around, completely accident. So the asylum jailers expect you to break out. The guards are just trials to produce a stronger undead champion. Yes, Elhenny Bray will be I talked about this somewhat earlier, is the idea of the stray demon and the asylum demon. The two names are basically interchangeable because they're both technically stray demons from Izalith, but the idea being is that the two demons are essentially they're replacement prison wardens, because as we can see, the current wardens, the ones from the undead burg, you see from the soldiers and stuff that are on guard by the gates and things, they're already dead. They're already gonzo. Oh, I gotta do this again. I'm wasting all my humanity. We gotta do that. And, yeah, okay, I gotta do this. Gotta do this to the max. I might even need one more, huh? Well, we'll kindle in the meantime. So yeah, the idea is that they are essentially there to replace the original wardens, and therefore they will help act as a trial for the undead mission. All of it is in service of this undead mission. Now, obviously not everyone's probably going to the asylum. People in different parts of the world are going. Obviously, the idea that you have an entire bunch of like the Berenike Knights or the Balder Knights and their king all being locked up is, again, fairly unlikely. We have several ideas of characters who just come straight to here. They don't go from the asylum, say like Griggs or Logan, etc. So it obviously is a case-by-case basis, and we can see vast variety of peoples and countries, but all of them have this idea of the undead mission. To come here, come to the Lordran, they end up at the Undead Burg, where they'll be sent on this mission to go ring the 2 bells of awakening, etc., and move on through Sen's Fortress. I only found Ash Lake on my second playthrough, and it blew my mind. Well, that's actually kind of cool, because you thought you explored everything, probably, and you're like, oh my god, there's even more I never found. Is Astora possibly a place with the real Guinevere, or is she just doing hot girl summer medial stuff? We'll talk about Guinevere when we go meet with her, but suffice to say, you're on the right track. Henhibre, probably for the... Oh, yeah, probably for the best. I got all the way down to the Hydra bonfire. I got my face pushed in for 30 minutes. Yeah, Hydra's Hydra. Wardens, didn't those Undead Burg guys just go to Lordran along with the... Undead Burg guys just go to Lordran along with the Balder Knights? No, they're the Burg regular army. Obviously, we see them running and acting as the soldiers all across the area. So, the idea seems to be that the facility wasn't originally created or used by the Burg, but it seems to have been staffed by them for the purposes of the mission. Much like how the church and everything, as we see, the Undead Parish, is facilitating the Undead mission into Sen's Fortress and things like that. So again, it's sort of the idea is that the Burg, as a, much like New Londo and Ulasil, are these human cities, settlements that are being created, or, well, in case of Ulasil, already existing, for the purposes of helping manage the undead mission, whichever iteration it is throughout history. Anyway, in our case, we can see how the current mission was basically run from the Burg, but then everything went to shit, as we talked about with the whole sea fiasco. We'll be talking about... Today, though, we have to be focusing about Quelaag and Izalith today, because this'll be fun. We can go over there. We already got the item here, I think, so we don't have to worry about that. There we go. Now, we can only find Quelana spawning here if we have a max pyromancy flame. The reasons for why we will discuss shortly. First, let me deal with these mosquitoes. Yes, leave. Go, leave. Leave this magic holy barrier around her that has you de-aggro. Go. Go. I don't want to risk you hitting me with your whatever that is you spray. It's disgusting. Yeah. Move along. Move along. Okay. Anyway, we find everyone's favorite Chaos Witch, besides Quelaag, or Fair Lady. Sorry, Quelana.
A mere undead, yet you can see me. Fascinating. I am Quelana of Izalith. I am not often revealed to walkers of flesh. You have a gift. Are you too one who seeks my pyromancy, like Salomon?
Now, Salomon is, of course, the person who is well regarded in pyromancy culture. The localization calls him Master Pyromancer. Japanese calls him Pyromancy King. Much like the idea of the Dragon King Great Axe, King is likely not being used in the literal sense, since Great Swamp seems very much a tribal, naturalistic sort of live in the swamp type deal. But the idea that he is such a he's so good with pyromancy that they would even consider him, let's say, the king of pyromancy, is very much a testament to his skills. Now, this revelation here is that Quelana is the one who taught Salomon, and she's like, oh, you can see me. Oh, that's shocking. You're just an undead. Like, what? She uses the term walkers of flesh, the idea being, though, is like it's been a while since someone with a human body has seen her, and she's like, oh, okay, do you want to learn pyromancy like that? Now we say yes?
Yes, of course. It should be expected. Very well. You shall be my pupil, but to pursue my pyromancy, you must give something up. Are you prepared to do this?
Now, again, the term she used here is provision, so much like with Laurentius and Griggs, the idea that you have to give souls in order to train and learn these spells and things like that, that the souls that you're costing goes into that process. So, again, this is sort of the soft lore explanation for why we buy it as if we're from a shop. The important thing here, though, is the idea that she's surprised that us with our human body is able to spy her despite the fact that she is clearly supposed to be invisible, apparently. Now, obviously, the game doesn't actually make her invisible, both because you can accidentally find her if you came across this area or what have you, and accidentally kill her or something like that, so instead they just make it where she doesn't spawn until you have the strong enough pyromancy flame. The purpose, though, is that she's essentially made herself invisible to those around her. The reason why can be inferred from this spell, Undead Rapport. Now, rapport, in this case, means it's much like how in other RPGs and Japanese games, the idea of a charm spell, right? The idea being that, again, this is why the description makes a point of how it can be used by either gender, because normally charm spells only work for, like, the opposite gender, traditionally, but the idea being is that, okay, no, this isn't like a charm spell in that case, you know, with the, oh my god, I'm now hopelessly in love with you for whatever reason, like, say, affection in Pokemon or something like that. The idea is that, the principle is much different. The idea is that the living or life is again lured by flame. The idea being attracted to, captivated by fire, harkening back to the opening cinematic, which didn't get localized properly. The idea that when life was born into the dark where fire was not, so when we finally see flame and the light and all that therein, we are so captivated by it, it distracts us from everything else. We just draw ourselves near automatically by how much it consumes our all into our sight. So this concept is being played on with Quelana and this pyromancy. The idea that you essentially use that captivating power of fire to distract enemies in a way that essentially lets them be able to act as your ally, right? You change their perceptions and their ability to think and everything, so that way they essentially turn against their brethren even. So, very important thing there. The idea, of course, is made that, unlike, say, some of her other spells, which are referred to as primal pyromancies, and we'll talk about that in a sec, this one, of course, is referred to more as an advanced, or in this case, a special or unique pyromancy among hers, right? Because it does something completely different from what we usually see with pyromancy. The idea being, then, is that if you are someone who is so easily distracted by fire that you can be essentially, your entire perception of reality can change, that way you're helping the enemy, then you can imagine what Quelana is doing, what Quelana is able to do with this to just anyone around her, so that way you're not actually able to see her, quote unquote. You like, when you physically see her, your mind, being distracted by this flame pyromancy, thinks she doesn't exist. But because we have a strong enough pyromancy flame, we're extremely, our longing for pyromancy and our desire to hold it into our hand and empower it allows us to not be wholly distracted by Quelana's flame. And so she's like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. So you clearly are someone with talent. Okay, do you want to learn pyromancy then, like Salamon did? And we get the idea that Salamon likely had something going through similarly, where Salamon clearly, he was so into studying pyromancy that he came all the way here to Lordran, not even as an undead, because he eventually returns and teaches a whole bunch of pyromancers and ultimately settles with the Great Swamp, right? Which obviously undead are not going to ever be permitted to do in this setting. So Salamon basically comes all the way here, likely looking for Izalith, like so many pyromancers nowadays do. But he instead finds Quelana, and Quelana teaches him in this swamp, again, likely giving the inspiration for why Salamon ultimately settles in the Great Swamp to get away from all the people who would persecute pyromancers. And ultimately, we see how she similarly recognized his talent because of how much he was into trying to study the arts of Izalith. Did you get the +10 stream off stream, or did I just miss it? Yeah, it's in another stream, Ellie. I'll be posting that one publicly soon in case you did miss it. But yeah, we did dump so many souls into getting that upgraded. His name is Salamander. Yeah. What's going on? Hey, Aaron Smith. What are you asking? What are you asking? What's going on for? We're just talking about Quelana. God, Undead Rapport sucks so much. Yeah. It's useful in Dark Souls 3, I think, when you want to just kind of run around and do some shit, but it's not like the best spell. Yeah, it's fun in Dark Souls 3, exactly. I wonder if they were ever gonna make gender lock spells. I doubt it, because they didn't make gender locked armor, and I feel like if they were gonna do that, I feel like if they're gonna make gender lock spells, they would have stuck with gender lock armor. As far as I could tell, that was never an idea for Dark Souls. So I think after Demon Souls, they realized that gender locked armor was kind of dumb. Anyway. So that's the explanation for why, how Quelana's invisibility works. Now, the primal pyromancies. Now, again, the term primal, original, source, the idea being is that these are one of the first pyromancies. This is the same term used when we're talking about the idea when Laurentius mentions how pyromancy is the art of fire, the art of the original or source primal life. So, The point being is that we're having the idea that there is this primal life with which pyromancy originates from, and Quelana, again, as one of the founders of pyromancy, or mothers as the localization likes to put it, is involved in that. And we can see with these spells, one of them is similar. It's a weaker version compared to the stronger version, Great Firestorm she can teach us. But the idea has similar concept to what the witches were using as sorcery back in the cinematic of creating these like billows of flame, this entire storm. Then Fire Whip, of course. This will be interesting when we go later on, but the idea is that this is the pyromancy from which Salamon and his pyromancers out in the world of man create the ideas of combustion. Of course, she knows how to create these lesser forms along with the standard Fire Whip. So, cool. No weapon to ascend. Oh, right, because I have to repair mine, don't I? Oops.
Long ago, I accepted another pupil like yourself. Over 200 years ago, there was a man almost as bungling as you. In your world, he was called Salaman, the master pyromancer. The little rascal really made something of himself.
Right, so Quelana's heard down the grapevine, eventually, that back in the world of man, Salaman has basically become known as this pyromancy king, and she's like, wow. One thing that's not translated well into her dialogue is the idea that she constantly refers, when she refers to you as like you're bungling as yourself and all that, she basically refers to us and Salaman by extension as a stupid apprentice. The idea being is that she's the stereotypical tsundere in Japanese media. She's completely always being always sort of being cold to us, being like, you stupid apprentice, stupid apprentice. She's always demeaning you. Eventually, she does warm up to you, though, as you, of course, do things on her, do her personal quest on her behalf. Gender-locked armor at least gives a rough equivalent, but uniquely different set. Gendered spells would just require too much redundancy that can flesh out to be unique in looks, lore, etc. Exactly. I just don't. I think if gender-locked armor wasn't going to be a thing, I just don't think gender-locked spells could have possibly been like in the devs' thought process. Anyway, I'm not gonna get any pyromancy, but we got a nice little talk with her.
Pyromancy is the art of invoking and manipulating fire.
Uh-huh.
But remember one thing.
Oh.
Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again.
Now, when she says lose yourself, the Japanese is and lose everything. Again, the idea being, and she would hate to see basically a similar event that she went through in the past where fire basically by not taking proper precautions ended up having a massive loss. We will talk about that hopefully soon with the boss up ahead.
No luck. Well, young pupil, you must have patience.
Listen, I'm stupid, I know.
Keep me waiting much longer.
I'm a thief. I don't get all this fancy schmancy nature shit. I just want to stab things. I'm trying to become a man of God, and you're dragging me into heresy. Whoop. As we can see, the enemies here are digging up and doing some mining work. Oh. Come on, roll. Dang it. Perfect. Oh, okay. Come on. There we go. Is it right that human pyromancy is only 200 years old then? Human pyromancy in the world of man, yes. And even that has a few qualifications to it. Salamon, by all indications, again, Miyazaki even highlights how Salamon has a very important role in the story, and that seems to be that he's the one who brought pyromancy and made it quote-unquote mainstream in the world of man. You can argue that pyromancy may have spread from there, or maybe some people developed it independently. Obviously, you can argue that with, say, Dark Souls 2 might have given an example of that case. The East, with one of the spies who follows Shiva, uses pyromancy and stuff like that, so you can make an argument there. Might have been like an independent strain. But generally speaking, yes, we can definitely say that pyromancy, as a whole, originated in the world of man, originating with Solomon. Now, the idea that humans casting pyromancy likely dates older than that, and we'll, again, talk about that more as we go into Izalith. Okay, I think we can deal with you. There's no more, right? Yep. Yeah. Your rock just magically came back! How'd you do that? Oh. I feel cheated. I feel cheated! Game won't let me abuse, you're slow! There we go. Alright, and as we can see, these guys killed this person with the Great Club. Now that we've gotten a bunch of weapons, we can start talking. Let's start with the Great Club here. Again, what you'd imagine similar to the stuff that would be used by the giant unhollows that we just killed, that we see them with their giant clubs and stuff like that, so something similar there. We get the idea that, you know, they make do with what they can here in Blighttown, but again, there's the idea that there is in fact conflict and people are in fact, even Blighttown residents are being killed. Not everyone seems to be on the same page. And then finally the idea of server. Now server, I believe this weapon is called a ramdao, and I think it's a Indian ceremonial weapon. The idea being is that it would be used for, I think, animal sacrifice or something like that. Now the Japanese here makes the idea that its server is a quote-unquote sacrificial blade. So again, similar idea. It's a sword that's being used in types of sacrifice rituals. Again, that's the idea of it being used in this mysterious old rite or what have you. Now, the point being made here is that it has occult energy, as I've talked about before. The idea that it has the power of heathens, this idea of a wicked faith or evil faith. So the idea is that, oh, this is, there's people of this wicked or occult heathens living out here in this valley beneath the, outside of the cities and all that. Outside the urban areas, they're living in these rural places where they can, you know, cultivate their strange, weird beliefs in their evil gods and things like that. They're these terrible pagans. Now, it doesn't actually have any occult enchantment or anything like that. Instead, we see the power of the dark expressed in another aspect, being that you restore HP as you hit the enemies and things like that. Similar to what we get with, say, the Evil Eye. Similar to what we get with, say, Dark Wraiths in, like, especially Dark Souls 3 with how the Dark Hand works. So, again, cool little detail and giving us, fleshing out sort of the idea of what heathens are like in this setting. Very much like your stereotypical heathens, but of course the roots go back into the dark and the lore there. But again, the idea to keep in mind that the dark is only allowed to exist outside of the mainstream in these rural places away from most of human society, where they can perform these terrible, profane things that most of humans would consider evil, wicked, awful. He filled the bottomless box with rocks. Alright, so. Okay. There we go. Thank goodness you're all slow. Oh. Again, we get the idea that there's kind of a construction work of sorts being done here. If I recall correctly, these guys also can drop pickaxes to reinforce this idea that they're mining the earth and picking it up. As we can see, the purpose seems to be to lift up the surrounding earth here and create more land bridge that will connect Blighttown to this area. So we see how important this is to the villages as they're getting the big burly guys to work on this project. Actually, let's move you over here, buddy. Come on. Come on. Free me. Oh. Thank you. Oh, darn. Oh. Ah! Stupid bugs! Whatever, I got what I wanted to say. We love Prometheus, don't we, folks? He made a great deal very big for humanity. First hollow to cast Garang Stone Throw. Doesn't the service description change when infused with chaos? Yes, the description does change when you infuse it with chaos. It changes from referring to, again, heathen, to heretical. The idea being that, again, this term for heretical means it's a more vague term, referring to just the idea of you having more literally different ends, different points at which you, from which you, say, argue or think compared to other people. So the idea being is that the occult power, now that it's mixed with both heathen energy and chaos power, it's now just truly heretical. It's just, you know, you can't be specific anymore. Now it's just heretical power. So, very funny there, isn't it? Now again, the heathen power by default is a reference to, the heathen power without anything else attached to it, of course, and the health-sucking aspect gives us the idea of life-eating, a concept that is very closely associated with the dark. So, it all ties together. Quelaag's domain always looked to me more like it was naturally elevated, possibly forced up by the lava floor or whatever. Not by the lava floor, I think, because the ruins in there predate all that, but... Well, I shouldn't say predate, you know what I mean. As far as what these guys are doing, though, yes, they seem to be raising things up in order to eventually bring it to Blighttown. That seems to be the idea, is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying, like, all of this was artificially elevated. I'm saying they're trying to essentially build it up from here in order to get to Blighttown. Whoop. And that's the point of doing the mining construction. Take some of that earth, bring it over here. So that way they don't have to keep on wading through the swamp in order to go see, go down there. Now, I think we can get a level up and then we can do Quelaag. Whoop. Oh, okay. I can hit the rock, but I can't hit you. Okay. I see how it is. Just die. Just please. Oh. Gosh, it's like dealing with the Two Stooges. There we go. Thank you for making my job easier, bud. Saw that coming a mile away. Yeah, so I think we'll go back, level up, and then, oh my. You gonna cooperate? Now, as we can see here, the area has been covered in spider webs, giving us the idea of an influence from a certain spider lady, who has, made this area her lair, from which the people of Blighttown apparently want to be more closely connected to. We'll kill you two, just to be safe. I think this should be enough, though. After that, we'll skip these guys and just go straight for Quelaag. Oh my. Nope. Thank you. And dead. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we're set. This should be enough for a level up, I think. Do Quelaag. Kick? No, no! I'm being completely innocent about that statement. No, do not. I don't mean the domain was flooded with lava, just that the geography was shifted. That could have also damaged most of the ruins in lava. No, because the lava doesn't really do any other significant damage we see. It's more so that it does damage to the actual ruins of Izalith itself more than anything. Either way, the enemy randomizer in this game is funny. You can make those mosquitoes bosses which respawn infinitely. Oh no! Why would you make that a boss? How does the boss actually, like, die? Or, like, does it have a set health bar and then it's gone? Or, oh no, that sounds awful. I would hate that. You've got to be kidding me. I'm 1,000 short. Okay, do I got a soul? Do I got me a soul? Proud Knight soul only. Watch, I'm just concerned about losing my souls against Quelaag, and then I'm gonna beat her first try. This will take too long. Fine, fine. I'll just sacrifice. I'll sacrifice souls for later. Come on. It's only 2k, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay. And more stamina. We'll keep going till 3. Alrighty, guys. Time to go meet Spider Mommy. Time to have her step on me. Again, thank goodness for the ring. Okay. The all Gwyn run is basically a cakewalk after the asylum. I can imagine, but that means you have to get out of the asylum. I'll be honest, I wouldn't want to deal with having to level 1 Gwyn out of the asylum. As we can see here, these are the egg carriers. Now, the term used in Japanese means to, like, shoulder or carry on one's back, as we can see here. Don't have my binoculars on right now. That's fine. Now, as we can see, these are, again, residents of Blighttown who have willingly accepted these spider eggs that we also see all around here, although these are much bigger. Obviously, if we kill them, they will have parasites within who will try to... also, if we just aggro them, they might bring the parasites out and have them latch on and essentially inject some eggs on us, at which point we will grow as we gather souls. They will eat some of our souls in order to develop. And then we can remove them using a special acorn. But suffice to say, we get the idea that there is a faith that has sprung up around chaos. These residents of Blighttown have, at least the ones that are still alive, have become part of this new cult. And now we will see where their leader. What about level 120 Gwyns in the asylum? Oh god, there's 20. Oh no. Might not be all willing. Demon ruins, they attack you and try to infect you. No, it's all willing because it's literally explicitly stated that only those who all those that have the eggs have willingly chosen that. Now you can argue that they go hollow and they'll attack you because they're mad monsters anyway, right? I mean, they're still undead. They're just undead with that shoulder eggs on their back, but the idea is, in fact, that they are, they're part of the cult. Same reason why these guys who pray don't necessarily attack us, even though they totally could, because we're obviously hostile. I'm not getting the egg sack on my head. Now, as we can see, Quelaag has lots of, whoop. Ouch. Quelaag has lots of, fire, of chaos variety, depicted by these runes to the flame that, stick out. Oh. Oh, right, she has a butt attack. Whoop. It's not safe to rely on cult's reports about itself. It's in an item description. They just tell us, they're just telling us information. Again, the term to shoulder or to carry is itself a word with a pun on those who willingly do so. So yeah, no. Especially since these larval centipedes eat people's souls. Yes, again, all done willingly. That's the idea. If you don't want to do it willingly, Engi literally gives you the acorn to remove it. If you're ever like, well, I'm not really interested in this. Again, if they weren't willing, they would just be killed and fined for their humanity, or allowed to remove it. Nothing complicated here. The Quelaag music might be my favorite. I do like the theme, yes. Now, I gotta be careful of butt splurts, but we should be fine. Should be fine. Okay. Now, as we can see, Quelaag, when she enters and everything, she's someone who's obviously exudes confidence. She's quite amused even by the fact that we're coming into her lair, trying to put a stop to her. She's ready to kill us. There was actually cut dialogue that we'll talk about after the fight that would actually be the lead up to the fight with her. She's sort of like echoing through the cave, telling us, warning us to turn back and things like this. This was cut because, as Miyazaki himself admits in the DesignWorks interview, this didn't really fit with her character. One, she was giving a lot of exposition that, again, she didn't really need to tell us because she's going to kill us anyway. And two, it was a lot of stuff that just didn't really kind of fit in terms of wanting to make us... She's telling us to turn... warning us to turn back or she'll kill us, but she wants to kill us, as we will see when we defeat her and go forward to what her plan is. Oh wow, I actually dodged that. Move out of the lava, lady. Witch, I love you, but move out of your lava pit. Come on. Oh. At least I can hit your legs. Ouch. Right, you can also explode. I'm gonna want to top myself off, probably. You done? There we go. Come on. I'll top myself off because we have extra assists to spare, and this fight isn't going to last that long. Come on. Come on, Quelaag, run over here, away from the lava. Oh. Dang it. Trying to use that strong attack more. Darn. Alright, as we can see, we see Chaos Fire use lava rather than just plain old regular fire. The idea being is that you mix the primordial element of rock with fire, and you get lava. This tells us how hot the Chaos Flame is compared to ordinary fire. You done? And the nature of what Chaos Witches themselves are. They are essentially lava manipulators. Dark Souls 3 would later confirm this outright by admitting that Chaos Pyromancy is essentially the lava arts. There we go. And she's down. See ya, Quelaag. Now, the name Quelaag is a product of the localization, again, Twin Humanities, woman. The idea being is that Quelaag's original name in Japanese is Crag, with an added emphasis on the A, so like something like Quelaag. The idea being here is that Quelana is similarly named, instead of Quelana, it's Krana. So again, the sort of take the crag, but change the G's to a na. So the point being here is a reference to the crag spider from D&D. Now, originally, crag spider internally is the name for Quelaag, and it also extends to the diseased of chaos, because as we can see, the idea being is that she's the source of this cult, where that has some of the residents transform or begin their transformation into demons, using chaos power and all that. So the point being here is that, okay, we're gonna call internally, there could be like, okay, so Chaos Witch Quelaag, she's the crag spider, Fair Lady will be the crag spider's sister, and then you have then the actual disease of chaos, who are referred to as like crag spider children, etc. So this internal name ended up becoming the official English name, and this is actually true for a lot of the official English names for Dark Souls 1. They didn't use the official Japanese names, or how they ended up being. Maybe they weren't decided yet before the Design Works interview or stuff like that. Though that's not really true, because obviously guides before then also started using those names. But the point is that the localization ended up using stuff different, so they end up giving sort of a different feel or tone on what the information that the game is trying to provide you in external sources is. As we can see, here's our first bell. Angie probably isn't going to give an acorn to just everyone, in my opinion. The fact that the player gets forcibly infected just feels like not everyone gets a choice. Again, if there's ever an issue, Angie's like, okay, yeah, here you go, you can remove this if you want. So again, if we're hostile, of course they're going to inject it with us, because we are a hostile force, or again, they're mad or insane, and again, they're parasites, they're not thinking. Like, they're babies. They're putting a lot of like intentionality behind a simple insect. If you say you want okay, you're correcting yourself there. Are we the first person to go to Sens in a while, so everyone we meet arrived after us, or did the other people like Logan ring the bell down here before Quelaag moved in? In terms of Logan and stuff, yes, the Sens Fortress hasn't been used for a while, according to Frampt. Though again, Logan is from 100 years ago, so you can argue between the whole stagnant time thing with time spaces and overlapping and all that and everything else, whether or not how long Logan has been locked up in that cell, right? You can make a case for him being there for maybe not that long, because of how, again, the shifting in time spaces allows us to be able to be in the same quote-unquote same space at the same quote-unquote time. But then there's also the idea, of course, that various characters have gone in and out of Sen's Fortress, like the Baldur Knights, the Berenike Knights, etc., before us. So, yeah. We want to go down from here. Yep. First, just want to make a point how we can see how this ruin was created. It uses similar architecture to what we see with the Undead Burg, especially down below when we explore it. There actually was a plan for a shortcut that would connect this to the Undead Burg, though they ultimately cut that. The idea that this ruin is used for, of course, a Bell of Awakening. Oh. We can see over here some of the lava and it overflowing and stuff, and then the centerpiece of the city of Izalith and the demon ruins and all there. So that's all there. It's a hole. We don't want to fall down there. Staircase is over there, right? I can go further down. When it comes to us, though, yes, we are the first person to explore Sen's Fortress in a very, very long time. Well, I shouldn't say very, very. Just a while. It's been a while. Who knows how long, but the idea has been that essentially Quelaag and company have moved in, taken over these ruins, made the Bell of Waking unavailable in that regard. There's, of course, the gargoyles in the other bell, which, of course, gargoyles that can be repaired, reset, replaced at will. This is the way out. We don't want to go that way yet. Why are there so many dragon butts in Izalith? We'll talk about the dragon butts when we get there, John Kick. Suffice to say, there is actually a good lore reason. It's actually kind of funny. Hello, Engi. Or, again, the term Engi's name is actually in the original Japanese Engi, again, with an added emphasis on the end, but it's essentially a reference to the Japanese word Engi, referring to, like, a dark or deep red color. So, again, you'll see how Laurentius is a reference to a lamp, Obviously, we talked about Quelaag and Quelana and some of their references to something related to the crag spider, but a lot of pyromancers like Salamon, or Zalaman as he's known in the Japanese, is a reference to the salamander, which in Japanese is associated, obviously in like alchemy it's associated with fire, but the Japanese for salamander is literally fire lizard. So again, lots of stuff that associates pyromancers with flame. Hello.
Oh dear, what have we here? Are you a new servant?
Yes, I'm here to receive the fair lady's eggs.
But you have no eggs.
Yes, that's why I'm here to get them.
Better. Go along and have audience with our fair lady.
Again, see?
Say that you will mind your manners.
Again, the idea that if you are someone who's chosen to become a chaos servant, then you would think that you would have accepted the eggs like so many others have. There we go. Do we want this? I don't think we need to increase this bonfire because we have the other one. Again, this is where the shortcut would have originally been. We would have taken like a sort of lift thing that would have dragged us all the way back to the undead bird. But again, they cut that. Fun facts. Rush development. Wait, rush development for the dragon butts. Yeah, that too. Wait, Laurentius is named after a lamp? Yeah, Laurentius is, I forget what, it's like lamplight or something like that in Italian or what have you. Or I think Latin maybe. But yeah, all the pyromancers have some connection to fire in their names being done. So. I should say the human pyromancers, not like Quelana or the witches. Let's see. We cannot talk to her because, she doesn't understand our language. Oh, okay. Well, don't worry, we thankfully have a trusty communication device. I received this from my grandma. The old witch's ring. Now, this ring, the term for old here refers to, not old in the sense that it's from a witch from a long time ago, though obviously that could also be true given how old these chaos witches are, but the idea of being a old witch in terms of like a woman at like sort of like elderly, some at the edge of their life cycle. So the idea being is that likely this was created by the witch of Izalith, the big mama. The point being, of course, is that it has this strange script on it and all that, but it's like, okay, there's the idea that humans and witches of Izalith have had contact before, and that this ring is out there as a result, and it lets you be able to understand the language. It's something that the original witch likely created in order to reach out and communicate with humans. As we can see, the fair lady doesn't actually know any language but the ones that spoken in Izalith among the witches and the like, so we need this ring in order to communicate with her.
Quelaag, my dear sister.
Now, unlike, okay, now I gotta swap this out. There we go. Now, unlike the Quelaag, we can see how the fair lady has her spider half, but this spider half is sick and ailing. Much like her hair, it has turned completely white. She's not doing so good.
You speak the tongue of the fair lady?
Yes, yes, I can communicate. Don't be jealous.
Do not be rash with your pride. You have yet to earn...
Aw, he's jealous.
If you try anything funny with the fair lady, there will be hell to pay. There is no time for idle chat. Think only of our fair lady and what she may need.
Now, the term here for fair lady is hime-sama. It's a term that's commonly used to mean, you generally hear it translated as like princess, though it can also be used for just any sort of rich, high-born lady. Of course, the idea being is that if the Witch of Izalith is, of course, the lord, the king of the of her kingdom, then the idea, of course, would be that the daughters would be quote-unquote princesses. So the idea is that she's often referring to her as like princess, your highness, etc. Things of that nature. 25 humanity time, Kappa. Well, she is the oldest witch of all, yeah. The spider half has its mouth in the dirt. Yeah, it's not doing too hot. Going a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
There is nothing to say to you, except if you lay a hand on the fair lady, you should be prepared to face my wrath.
As we can see how protective Engi and the Chaos Servants are, we can again get the idea that, again, egg bearers like Engi. Engi essentially keeps a roster on all the servants, and we can use this to basically see other people online and stuff like that. But the idea is that, okay, so the Fair Lady is a daughter of chaos, much like Quelaag and Quelana. The idea being is that those who are trying to offer humanity for her, this humanity, as we learn from the Fair Lady's soul, I'm not getting it right away, obviously, because we're not killing her, but the idea being is that she has become a firekeeper, so she has become similar to other firekeepers, has a soul with which to collect and grab the humanity offered to bonfires, or we can offer directly to her as part of the Covenant. The point being is that with this humanity, it doesn't stay inside of her. It actually goes to straight to the eggs and is used there to help nurture and grow the parasite life that the egg bearers ultimately carry. Again, the idea being here is that it doesn't really serve any purpose beyond just sort of showing off who's, like, given the most offerings, which Engi is recording. It's like, who really cares? It's Engi. There's also this idea that it might help alleviate her suffering. This was actually visibly shown in the game, and obviously Dark Souls 3 does give the indication that the Fair Lady eventually does get better. But for now, as we can see, she's just very sick. Why did she get sick? Well,
Quelaag, what is it?
clearly she's delusional, so the fact that we can talk to her has her think that she's talking to her sister, even though, well, we're obviously, not.
Quelaag, my dear sister, the eggs, it hurts. They've gone still. I am afraid it may be too late. I am so sorry, dear sister.
So the Fair Lady is laying these eggs as a firekeeper for the purposes of Quelaag's plan. Quelaag wanted this, and she's now sorry because it looks like she blames herself for this no longer being the case. The eggs are all stillborn, as it were. No longer are they working out.
I'll be fine. I have you, dear sister. But promise me that you will take care of yourself.
It's the Twitch donation list. You literally open the shortcut by becoming a tier 2 sub. No, you gotta be a tier 3 sub. Gotta really work for it. You have to donate to her OnlyFans to open the shortcut.
I'll be fine. I have you.
So, promise me.
Will
So the idea is that she's concerned. It seems like Quelaag's really been torn up over what's happening, what her sister's been going through. And Fair Lady realizes this and is like, oh, don't worry, I'll be fine. Just, don't be so hard. Don't, like, the term being used basically means don't work so hard. Like, it seems like Quelaag's trying to pick up the slack, doing as much as she can. It's like, hey, listen, don't, like, overwork yourself. Oh, right, I don't have you.
Goodbye, Quelaag. It was so very nice to chat.
You can see how while Quelaag exudes confidence, arrogance, and obviously dominance, the Fair Lady is complete opposite. Her sister is more so timid, clearly someone that's more kind, and arguably naive. Someone who sort of has this bit of a sort of a inferiority complex compared to her sister. Now, I'm going to take out my... Where is it? Oh, gotta have that. Where is it? Where is it? Where's the soul? Right, so again, the idea being is that, we learn more about the Firekeeper souls elsewhere, but the Fair Lady soul in particular tells us how it's being used in order to essentially, give life to the eggs.
Oh, my dear.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt. Don't worry, I understand. It hurts and all that, yeah. There we go. Got that more strong. Now we join the Covenant.
Covenant again. Of course. Let me try.
Yeah, Quelaag accidentally broke the Covenant at some point. Yeah, don't worry, sister. Don't think about it. So, what demons hatch out of the Fair Lady? We only ever see the juvenile-looking centipedes. We don't get that expanded on until Dark Souls 3, but the idea seems to be that Chaos Life can take on multiple forms, as we can see from the variety of Chaos Demons. So, nice. Also, my first Pyromancy, and it's Chaos. Laurentius is gonna hate me.
Quelaag, I
I'm so glad.
Only I could gaze upon it once more.
As you can see, she's even gone blind.
Oh, be
Yeah. I think Gingin will now.
Quelaag,
Yep.
do be safe.
Yep. Anything else we want besides the Chaos Flame Pyromancy? Again, the idea that it creates a thing of lava, going back to the idea of chaos as lava arts. The idea being that the Flame of Chaos, of course, is the thing which consumed the witch and her daughters. The Flame of Chaos can melt stone. Again, very, very important detail here. Producing the lava. A very powerful flame. Very powerful indeed.
You.
Yeah. We get it, you don't trust me.
There is nothing to except you.
Oh, do I gotta give some humanity first? Fine. Will you, you listen to me now, Ingy? I forget the exact trigger again to actually share stuff.
Goodbye, Quelaag.
Yeah. You record that?
If you.
Okay, nope.
There is nothing to
Okay. I think I have to be a tier 2 sub. When I first played, I figured that the humanities were just pooling off into egg growths rather than writhing under the skin in a lot of the Dark Moonitises. Yeah, we'll talk more about what the humanities do when we get to those people. Don't you dare tell Lamplight. Don't tell him. He won't sell you anything if you have less than 11 int. Oh, if I have less than 11. Alright, so. I see. But I have 12 int.
You. If you.
Well, whatever. We'll get the lore from him later. Anyway, let's talk about Quelaag more now, since we have her soul. So again, the idea with Quelaag is that she is, of course, she's a daughter of Chaos. She's a daughter of the Witch of Izalith. She's now a Chaos Demon, so the idea is she's transformed into a Chaos Demon. Now, there's this idea that she has all aspects or various aspects of Chaos within her soul. We can see this manifest in the weapons we can get from her. One weapon is, of course, a weapon that's like her spider half. It's a almost like the leg of that in terms of sword form, and the idea is that is the demon aspect that is being expressed. And then, of course, there's the idea that the other aspect is the Chaos Blade, a weapon whose actual blade has a flowing pattern resembling flame on it. The idea being, of course, that it eats as it eats the life from others, it will also eat the life from you, so it damages both user and the target. Very important detail, but we don't care for those weapons, so if you get eggs, he has new dialogue. That's true. If I get eggs, I could get new dialogue, but I don't want eggs. I don't want eggs. It's the eggs. He doesn't care until you get attacked by violent worshippers of the demon. Oh, I see. So, okay. So I thought it was related to the fair lady, but no. Okay, we gotta get. Dang it! I gotta get eggs then, chat. Fine, we'll get the eggs, but first, level up. Darn. All right, let's use her soul. Sorry, Quelaag. I'm a terrible person. Ay. Let's do this. Probably need a little more for the level up, but yeah, a little more. And then okay, we'll do one more. I think this is 4K, 3K or something? Yeah, 3K. Okay, and then that plus the enemies outside, that should be enough. If not, I guess we could do Ceaseless. The boss weapons always kind of stink. I have no opinion, because I just stuck with Black Knight Sword through my original playthrough, and I'll play subsequent playthroughs after that. They have to land the grab attack and it has to cause an infection. Begin the Covenant doesn't matter to him or them, yeah. So we're gonna have to do that. We can see the shortcut, again, notice the Kalos architecture. You can see the dirt around it from which the ruins are built around. So there's the idea there was a connection point between these ruins and the Chaos civilization down below. You can especially see this with how if we press the button, we will see Chaos Fire rising up from the button that we press down and all that. So it's all powered by Chaos. It also gives us the idea that the civilization used Chaos. Now, if we talk to Quelana before killing Quelaag, we ask her about the Witch of Izalith, because naturally we know she's a daughter of Chaos, so we were like, oh, hey, you're a daughter of the Witch of Izalith. Can you, like, tell us about the Witch of Izalith? And she's like, the Witch of Izalith? Oh, please, I don't want to talk about that. Please, I abandoned my mother and my sisters, and now I basically now endlessly wander around pretending to, as the English puts it, is like, I think, pretending to seek answers, but she just endlessly quests, right? She acts like she's going around searching for something, doing stuff, but really no, she's just hiding out in this swamp away from her family. We'll be talking about more on the reasons why as we go forward, but again, we have this idea that chaos is incorporated into the technology. We see how both Quelaag and the Fair Lady are trying to create new chaos life as part of it, and there is cut dialogue, which talks about something very important. The idea that Quelaag wants us to turn back, or lest you be slain by her. She warns you that the land of Izalith is a forbidden land, forbidden by the Pact specifically, the idea that there is a pact, which we can see implicitly expressed in how the demons, up until recently, never escaped. Again, there's this idea that 1,000 years have passed, and the Chaos Demons have more or less stayed in their little caverns here in the ruins, not exiting their civilization. And yet, in more recent times, around the same time, it would seem that Quelaag and the Fair Lady have moved into these ruins suddenly. We see the Taurus Demon and the Capra Demon trying to stop us from getting to the Bells of Awakening. The idea, of course, being that Quelaag seems to have directed the demons to do so, and on the same note, that she seems to be aware of what the implications behind the undead what the Bell of Awakening is for the undead mission. Of course, this makes sense. We see with all the cult members here, how she is incredibly, again, they're praying to her, they're praying over there, they're praying over there, toward the Bed of Chaos, they're praying over there, towards Ceaseless. They're just praying, they're praying to all things chaos. Chaos, consume the world! The idea being is that Quelaag knows what the undead, understands the undead mission is to ring the bells, likely for the purposes of, again, killing her mother. Because as we can tell, there's a barrier that has been set up that blocks our path to the Bed of Chaos, and Quelaag obviously has to be aware of these powers being used in order to seemingly set up for people to kill her mother. She doesn't want that. She and the Fair Lady are working to instead try to expand Chaos Society, add more demons with the residents of Blighttown, expand out their borders. Until before then, they seem to have just kind of sat back and pretty contained. So the idea of the Pact, though, again, it's cut dialogue, does seem to ring implicitly true by everyone's behavior in this situation. The second bit of interesting information to talk about is, of course, the idea that Quelaag plans to slay us and use our humanity to create, as she puts it, a seedbed of chaos. The idea being is that we will have our humanity, our being, our souls, being used to feed the Fair Lady, who is a new bed of chaos, much like the original bed of chaos we will fight over there. The point being is that, again, Quelaag and the Fair Lady are essentially trying to do what originally happened with her mother back when the Chaos Flame was first created. They're trying to essentially turn the Fair Lady into a new demon factory. Now, we gotta get you, come on, grab me. Come on. Yep. Come on. Come on. Oh my. What is your hitbox? Nope. Go on. Do I have to do it from here? Oh. Ah, darn it! Okay. This is gonna take a while. Chaos control! The stairs didn't get repaired in 1,000 years and such, yeah. Listen, they're all warriors. They don't know how to repair. No, but as for the actual ruins, these ruins were likely not always used for the Bell of Awakening in that case, as we can see from the architecture and stuff on how it's set up. Oh. Oh, okay. This grab attack is not very common, is it? The automatically aggressive ones are further down the hill. Those guys tend to be better at landing the grab. Yeah, well, I guess we'll try that then. Sorry, Ingy. The monstrous flipped bowl in the Demon Ruins vicinity always keeps me wondering. Flipped bowl? Oh, it's not really a bowl, although some areas do make it look more like a bowl. It's more like a wall. And we'll talk more about the wall and its intentions, what it serves, when we get further into Lost City of Izalith and stuff. But again, we clearly see this idea that the entire ruins and civilization here revolves around the Chaos Flame. The Chaos Flame, which we can see now, is flooding the area, though that's due to similarly more recent events. Let's try to get get ourselves an egg. We're probably going to also deal with Ceaseless while we're at it. Just have me rest here. There we go. Yeah, I got the Black Knight sword too, Night Scout. I was very lucky on my first Black Knight kill. During my first playthrough, I got that. I'll be honest, I don't even remember how I got the Black Knight dead. I think I killed him legitimately down there. I remember killing him down there in the alleyway. But like, oh boy, once he was dead and I got the Black Knight sword, I was like, okay, I'm gonna level so I can use this. This looks cool. And yep, it was cool. Anyway, as we can see. Nope. Come on. There we go. Thank you. I don't care about you now. Thank God killing you doesn't affect my standing in the covenant. Again, we see the parasites. Oh. I don't got that range. There we go. Oh. Ah, darn. Fine. Fine! Don't want me killing the babies. I get you, game. Let us move on. Let us move on to Ceaseless. Where are the souls? There they are. Now again, we can see the Chaos Demons standing on the lava, though I am not stupid enough to obviously try to get them right at this moment. Oh, oh right, they disappear when you're close enough, huh? You only see them from far away. That's... Oh. That was dumb. But it's fine, they weren't actually down there, so there's no point in going that way. I need to go that way to get to Ceaseless. Oh well. Wait, no, wait until the egg hatches. The egg is probably going to hatch when I gather enough souls, so probably Ceaseless will help with that. Then you can talk to Engi and use the acorn. Yeah, I'm aware. Oh, I used a huge chunk of Ceaseless souls. I do not mind that. I mean, what? Can I do it just by using, Can I do that just by using, no, I don't have any spare souls. Yeah, okay, we'll just, yeah, it's fine. I don't mind losing some Ceaseless souls on this playthrough. It's not the biggest deal. Again, no Taurus demons here yet, but we can see how the lava spills over, goes all the way down. There's the bottom area where where Ceaseless will fall when we get to that point. Though again, for a giant, it's not really that big of a fall. Kind of surprised he dies. Just leaving that out there. We can also see Centipede Demon in the corner over there. Just chilling. Right over the Centipede Demon arena, but down there. And of course we can see more of the ruins over here, leading back down and around. We can of course also see more of the City of Izalith here. The various buildings. Now again, I say the City of Izalith because while the area inside is referred to as the Lost City of Izalith, or as the Japanese puts it, the ruined capital of the City of Izalith. Sorry, the ruined capital of Chaos, Izalith. The demon ruins, both architecturally and everything else, are a clear extension of that city architecture. We can also see, if we look closely, the appearance of flame and chaos being used here. We will also see, of course, images of Buddha being used with other people in relation to the reliefs, giving the concept of course, trying to achieve sort of a spiritual enlightenment from Chaos Fire and all that. Again, everything in Izalith revolved around chaos, originally. The entire city was built with that in mind. I can't wait to die to Ceaseless. the bigger they are, the harder they fall and all. I suppose that's true, though. I still think it's a bit of a short drop, relatively speaking. Innocuous head scratching. Yeah, just innocuous. Also, of course, notice how we see the burn marks. We could have the idea that a massive explosion of fire came out and scarred the land at the bottom here, so it singed the bottom of this land. Did the same thing to that part over there. You can see more of the damage back there, but that's not what we're concerned about. We can see how some of it landed and marked these walls below us. And of course, we see some of that same damage being done over here. We can see how the lava of Izalith spills from the very walls, so it's not just Ceaseless who is the source of this lava. Obviously, the idea is that chaos in general produces it. When it mixes with that primordial element that makes up all matter, rock, with fire, we receive lava. Again, see some of the walls here and things like that by Ceaseless. Now, Ceaseless himself has a sore. Now, the English name Ceaseless Discharge is the localization of the Japanese name, the one who is continually sore, right? So the idea is that he has this quote-unquote sore, which he plugs up with his arm right now, that constantly leaks lava and causes him immense pain. Now, if we attack him normally, if I recall correctly, he will not actually relinquish that arm from there. He will just try to attack us with the other appendages. But we get the idea that this demon here is someone who is in constant pain, and yet he tries to deal with it as best he can with his deformed body. And Miyazaki himself makes a point of trying to convey the sadness of the character, even though, again, the Japanese fan base, for the most part, just attacked him, being like, ah, giant monster, ah! Which, much to Miyazaki's own sadness. Oh. Oh, it worked on its own. Huh. I thought it was based on souls, but it's just based on 5 minutes, I guess. Okay, good to know. I guess we'll be using Homeward Bones, Ceaseless. Sorry to tell you. I could just use the acorn I have here, if I recall correctly. Don't I? Oh, no, it's in my box. Suffice to say, Ceaseless is not a happy camper. You know what? We could always do this. We get Ceaseless all mad, and bring him over when we come back. Yeah, I like that plan. Egg sack! I thought I could get ahead of it, but I couldn't. Though the lighting worked better in the OG than the remaster, the area lighting really works wonders for Ceaseless in this natural environment here. You never think he was just purple. Yeah, I really like his design overall, and I think the way they do him in the arena is great. Now, anyway, as we can see, Ceaseless is positioned with the intention of looking at both this monument here, and of course, the Fair Lady and Quelaag over here in the ruins, as Miyazaki confirms in the DesignWorks interview. The idea, of course, being that he wanted to try to portray the sadness of someone who's waiting for his sisters to return. He has very much love for them. Notice how almost juvenile this construction is compared to the rest of the city. Almost looks like a bunch of Lincoln logs or tumbling blocks being stacked atop each other in a very messy fashion in comparison. Doesn't have that same elegance and refinement as the other Chaos architecture we see. So again, we get the idea that Chaos civilization had fallen when this type of area was built, perhaps by Ceaseless, perhaps by the other demons. Either way, you get the idea. They're not master craftsmen. They're just a bunch of dumb warriors. They're just gonna make do with what they got, and they got a bunch of architectural blocks they can stack atop each other in a semi-ritualistic fashion. We get the idea, of course, that this is all meant to be a lead up to a grave. The cheese only works the first time around. You can't steal the robes and permanently get them out, get the arm out. I see. Well, more than Loki would have to run back to the altar, wait for Ceaseless to follow him all the way back, and run back to the start of the boss arena. Yeah, so we're gonna... Yeah, okay, then I guess we won't do the robbing. Anyway, this, of course, is a Daughter of Chaos. We'll talk more about her when we come back here, I guess, and deal with Ceaseless. So I guess we'll deal with this. Night Scout was right. I thought I could do this before it showed up, or my souls would be lost in the process of getting it. I wouldn't mind, but might as well while we're here. All right, Ingi, talk to me. No, Night Scout. The chaos, the point I'm trying to make when I'm talking about the city and the fact it's the capital of chaos is that all of this stone city architecture of Izalith was built after the Chaos Flame went boom boom. Again, this is a capital of chaos for chaos. The ruins are for an completely separate event. Now we will talk to Ingi.
Well,
Yes.
you're just like me.
Yeah, I've become a proper servant.
It is fully apparent.
Yay! I've shown my willingness to join for chaos.
Your head looks awful.
Yeah, I came on the wrong
Why
side,
not
but you
have
know,
this?
I think it's
I've
fine.
no use for it any longer.
Oh. Cool. So again, Engi has given us a means with which to remove the eggs. Now, the egg bearers have chosen to serve the fair lady, and the eggs symbolize this selfless choice. Naturally, these chestnuts, though, are forbidden, because obviously, when you make your choice, why would you try to kill her eggs? But but everywhere, the Japanese sort of puts it, but everywhere in the world, there's a reason to make an exception, right? Like, everyone's got their reasons, right? So it's like, okay, we look ugly having this on our head rather than our backs. It looks, not the best. So, hey, if you wanna, do that, Engi's gonna make an exception for us, though. But again, the idea is that they all willingly choose to, put the eggs on. It's a proof of their dedication. I know there was a period when they could control it a bit, but they seem to have lost even that control. It's all wrecked like a lava. Okay, no. There's not a period they controlled it. It's they controlled it, period. Again, the actual lava we see, besides from Ceaseless, leaks from the walls from the initial destructive event of the Chaos Flame leaking out. But as we can see, the city itself is fine. It's not burned, because again, it was built after. The stone isn't melted, or again, if it melts the rock and causes it to seemingly permanently almost leak lava from the very walls that scorch the earth here, then the city itself would be all melted lube. But it's not. It's a regular city of chaos for chaos. And it wasn't that they controlled it for a time. It was that the Chaos Flame blew up. They had no control of it during that period initially, and then they got control of it. And then it went forward from there. So, again, there was never there was just a somewhat of a period where they controlled it and then they lost it. No. It was, the Witch of Chaos, as we'll learn from Quelana, tried to make it. That didn't work out. And then, as we can see, the entire Chaos civilization rose from that. Can we get Engi to help us here? Yeah.
Incidentally,
There we go, finally.
interest in pyromancy?
No, the cheese always works so long as you get close to the corpse even after having looted it. Yeah, but you have to go all the way to the corpse. That sucks. So I think this is the best case, Sneed. Special circumstance being that Engi doesn't want you to be her favorite Twitch toner. This is very true. Also, with the parasite manifesting in the player's head, it felt like the eggs would do brain damage before someone could think to cure it. Most of the city has really burnt stonework in a huge sector. No, it doesn't have really burnt stonework. What are you talking about? Again, this is it's a stone city. The chaos melts stone. It's in pretty good condition. The actual cliff sides and stuff, that stuff is burnt, but we can infer that to be from before the actual city. Again, it's literally the capital of chaos. It revolves around chaos. It was built with chaos in mind. And we'll talk about that more as we... Again, Fair Lady and Quelaag are all doing this in the service of chaos, and obviously we get the shortcut that leads directly into the capital of chaos's center, so yeah. All but one bridge to the city broke too. Again, that's related to a completely separate event in terms of why is the city in ruins right now? What happened that caused this capital of chaos to no longer be around? Short answer is Gwen. Now let's do this. Sure, pyromancy. Yeah.
You have served our fair lady well.
Thanks, I don't really need your fire. I got Laurentius's, but
This
okay.
strength be yours.
Now again, we can finally learn some of the important stuff. Now first, Poison Mist. Now this is a pyromancy that Engi's created. He's considered a heretic at the Great Swamp. So again, even Carmina uses fire and internalizes it before having it use other elements. So fire is still being used at the core there. Obviously you use the pyromancy flame, but we're talking about the spells themselves. In the case of Engi, though, he uses non-fire. So even though pyromancy, as we've talked about before, isn't literally pyro or fire art, well, it is, but in terms of like pyromancer culture, the actual art is just conjury. It's spell arts. The idea that you can use you could use the flame to create a variety of things, as we see with, say, Iron Flesh and the Profuse Sweat and all that. In terms of Engi, though, he just goes straight for the, hey, I want to use the power of fire to produce poisons and things like that. And as a result of this, he's been deemed as a heretic in the Great Swamp, which is supposed to be a place that accepts all manner of heretics, right? All heresy goes to the Great Swamp. So there's sort of an irony here. Dark Souls 3 highlights that by pointing out how pyromancers finally realize, hey, you know, we're kind of being hypocritical if we're not accepting of stuff like Engi's arts as for heresy. Again, just gives us the idea of the Fair Lady and Engi's relationship. Again, the point being made is about this is an intense poison mist, or again, a toxic mist. Deadly poison is the term being used. The idea being is that why was Engi driven out of the Great Swamp originally? Well, it wasn't because he was undead. It was actually because he studies these arts of poison, trying to improve upon them, and as a result of that, he was essentially just driven out as a heretic. I don't think Gwyn's armies could even really get in there. The lava is oppressive. I feel the Black Knights got walled out of Izalith proper despite their efforts, because that'll be for the Iz episode. Yeah, we're going to talk more about Izalith there, so, like, yeah. We'll talk more about as we, like, go forward to do so. But no, yes, there was a conflict. The Gwyn and the Black Knights did fight Chaos Demons. Again, very important thing we're going to talk about with all that. But, again, we'll probably get a little bit more to talk about when we get to Quelana, back to Quelana, I should say. But let's see what Engi's going to tell us here. You admit it! Yeah!
Without speaking her tongue. Worse than undead, we are diseased and unwanted.
Again, because they're from
like
Blighttown.
The grime of the great swamp. But my dear fair lady, she cried for me and swallowed the great
gosh, no.
despite Mistress Quelaag's orders to the contrary.
Okay, so when oh boy, there's so much to break down there. Okay, so first is the idea of the grime of the Great Swamp. He basically just says like a giant feces or shit in the Great Swamp is the what he's comparing the state of being a diseased undead is like, because it's like, okay, you're already undead, but not even undead want you because you now have the plague. So it's like, oh, this sucks. Now there's the idea that Engi did eventually turn undead after getting driven out of the swamp, went to Lordran, ultimately came down here, likely to get some more poisons for his pyromancy. Dark Souls 3 later clarifies this explicitly. And the point is, of course, that he eventually found the Fair Lady because of that, and became her willing servant, because there's the idea that the dialogue here says the Fair Lady, she cried for me or whatever. It wasn't that she cried for him. She cried for all of them. The idea that all the people of Blighttown, the diseased village, she felt bad for them. And so she was willing to partake in what the localization calls the Great Blight Pus. The Japanese just says, you know, pus of the disease, right? So their disease that they all have, she's like, okay, I'll have some of the pus of that diseased pus. I'll ingest some of that and sort of share. You know, want to be a Mother Teresa, self-sacrificing. Hey, I'll show my empathy by sharing in your suffering. Now, Quelaag is like, what are you doing, sister? No, no, no. And as we can see, this is the result. Fair Lady is not doing too well. She's kind of ruined Quelaag's plans for the new Demon Empire. So, yeah, great job, Fair Lady. But again, this has, of course, earned the love of the residents of Blighttown, who are now her dedicated servants despite everything.
Worse than...
Yep. Okay. Oh, wait. We go here. Alright, let's get Ceaseless. I would have liked if he gave us the dialogue about the lava giant and things like that, but that's fine. I guess that could come later. That might get triggered by killing Ceaseless even. I actually don't recall. But he does have dialogue essentially to the effect telling us about how there is the lava giant, the idea that Engi doesn't really know much about, like, he's never really, you know, asked or really investigated into why Quelaag and the Fair Lady have come up here. But there is the idea that they've essentially run away from home. Quelaag and the Fair Lady are trying to, again, we see from the shortcut and stuff, that they're trying to create Chaos Servants, and the especially dedicated ones like Kirk are being brought back into the fold of the capital's core over there via the shortcut that leads directly into the city. But the plan with what's it called? The plan that Quelaag has with sort of creating the demons and stuff has been, of course, been recently thwarted by the fair ladies decide that she was going to sacrifice herself for the residents. Hey, it earned the loyalty, but at what cost? Did the fair lady swallow your blight pus? Don't think so. Ingio reigns supreme. I love you, Sneed. Whoop. Obviously, we can see from the tree stuff there some of the hints of what lies beyond. What lies beyond over there. We'll go through this way. Hey, Ceaseless. How you doing? One who is continually sore, endlessly in pain, always suffering. Yeah. In fact, for you to know, the moans we're about to hear from him are actually a baby cry, which has been reversed and warped in order to sound, well, not like a baby. But again, you get the idea how very much he's the little brother of all the witches. We'll be talking more about the significance of that when we get to Centipede Demon with the ring and all that. But for now, our focus is on this Daughter of Chaos. Again, he's not happy with this. It makes him so mad he's willing to free his sword and deal with the pain. Oh no! Come on, get over here. There we go. Again, we see how Ceaseless is very protective of his sister. He doesn't want anyone to spoil her grave that he's watching over. So the fact that we have kind of looted it for ourselves, really? Oh, excellent. I should have been looking! Well. So since the Fire Lady is a Firekeeper, does the Fire Lady is a Firekeeper, does that mean Izalith is proof of an uncomfortable connection between even the gods and humanity? Firekeepers do innately attract, so have lots of humanity from the looks and sounds of it. They have the no, what happens is when you become a Firekeeper, you make yourselves a vessel for bonfire. So all the humanity offered to the bonfire is instead goes to the Firekeeper. Now, obviously, for mechanical reasons, the game in the Covenant just does the offering system, so that way your offerings to the bonfire for leveling up your bonfire is separate from what you offer to the Fair Lady to advance in the Covenant. Although, obviously, from a logical lore perspective, both it should work either or. But yeah, the point is, of course, that Fair Lady isn't there isn't a uncomfortable connection between the gods and humanity so much as you could collect humanity. It's a soul, much like any other soul from any other affinity besides the Dark Soul. So like, it works in that regard. The making yourself a Firekeeper just makes it so that way you naturally gather and collect that humanity, which the Fair Lady's doing because, hey, you can take all the humanity from humans, that soul they don't need, so you don't have to kill your servants, right? You don't have to sacrifice them because they just give up their dark soul, not their regular soul. I gotta have you free your arm, buddy, so, pardon me. Oh. Did he glitch off the cliff? Nope. He went off the cliff, but, actually, you're right. I think he did glitch, because he needs to get hit in order to fall normally, right? I suppose, yeah. He did just glitch. I think that worked, huh? Yeah, I heard it. Yep, okay, he freed his arm. Come on, buddy. Oh, wow, he's, He's not doing what I expected. How does one get made into a firekeeper? Oh man, wouldn't I like to know? The idea is that there's some ritual process that the Way of White and other factions with the that relate to the gods in Anor Londo know about, but yeah, we don't get too much elaboration on how exactly one turns one's soul into a firekeeper soul, and thus thereby makes someone a firekeeper. All right, I need to look this way for when he does the jump. Come on. He realized, oh shit, this is, I did not think this through. And he falls to his death. They seemed on pretty short supply, as if it couldn't just be anyone pointing. Well, that's the idea of the Holy Women, which I'll talk about as we go forward with the quests in these games. But yes, certain women are singled out, seemingly, for their special affinity. That's presumably also maybe why Quelaag decides that her sister's going to be the Firekeeper better than her. She might just have a natural better disposition for it. Irina's arc in Dark Souls 3 also seems like innate humanity tie is important. Not necessarily. It's more so your ability to deal with the humanity eating away at you. It's like, the problem with Irina is that she's a weak person, quote unquote. She's just not the type of person who can deal with lots of constant, nibbling pain on her, right? So, like, that's why she's unable to, handle when she is, basically she's set up to be a Firekeeper by the Way of White, but while she's sent out on the journey, it just becomes too much for her. Granted, Dark Souls 3 lore and Dark Souls 1 playthrough, but seems reminiscent of Anastasia. Anastasia is unlike Irina, is a lot more pain resilient, as we can see, and as we ultimately see with her producing a Black Eye Orb, she, despite how, you know, like, quiet she is, she's quite the firebrand in her own way. So, like, she's someone who's willing to cut off her own limbs in order to make sure that she never betrays the gods. She's like, hey, cut off my tongue. When she's there, she's like, okay, I'll even cut off my limbs, because you know what? I'm gonna do this, and I'm either gonna stay here as a Firekeeper, or I'm gonna die a human. So, she's quite the dedicated member of the Way of Light. All right, so that's done. Now, as a result, the lava from Ceaseless's sword that constantly drips out has cooled. Though again, we still have lava from the walls from the burning of chaos here. Again, notice how the walls of the land are burned to the crisp. The actual city is pretty fine. Just pretty fine. Little worse for wear from being broken around, but again, it's been 1,000 years of the city basically being abandoned and having gone through an entire war with Anor Londo, so we will... I don't think we'll be able to go much farther than this, though, today. There's the Taurus demons. They're back. They're back. Oh. I keep doing that! Ah. Well. There we go. There's our Taurus demons. No, the maiming is most likely her choice, Night Scout. It's not trying to, the idea, the way that the Japanese is worded in a way to just say for the cutting off was for the purposes of doing so, and she's the one who's, she's the one who shows her dedication on wanting to be able to die a human and do that stuff. That's sort of the point of her character arc. Even if she can eventually drag herself off. She has her legs in the cinematic intro, Night Scout. That isn't her without her legs. She has use of them and is, actually has like models and stuff from when she would be able to use them and have them early on. The idea of her having her legs cut off is a later event after from what we see in the cinematic. She doesn't drag herself out. She's the person who purposely locked herself in there. Like, the reason the cinematic is trying to showcase is her praying and showing her dedication to the flame by holding the last bits of ember, trying to hold on to that fire even as undeath, the quote-unquote Night of Undeath, is consuming the world of man. She's still trying to hold on to those last bits of flame over, as we can see, a corpse that is going hollow from the dark sign and all that. So that's sort of the purpose the cinematic's trying to get across. I figured she wanted to die as a human to no longer suffer as a Firekeeper. No, she, again, that's the whole point of her saying, hey, I don't want to speak with my impure my impure tongue and stuff like that. She is absolutely, she doesn't want to, she doesn't, again, as a holy woman of the church, much like Rhea, her entire shtick is, I don't want to act in defiance of the gods. Me being undead is in defiance of the gods, and for her, even speaking with her undead tongue is in defiance of the gods. She's supposed to be dead. She wants to die human, not become a hollow. Now you can argue whether firekeepers can become hollows, but just the fact that she's undead alone, it seems to be her concern, right? She doesn't want to be this unholy monster in the eyes of the church. I don't think she ever had her legs cut off. If you go by her gear description, she just maims like broken leg. The statement again. The Japanese uses the term "cut off." Again, please, Night Scout. When I say it's cut off, I mean cut off. Also, I feel like if Anastasia maimed herself, she would just maim herself again. Well, why would she? Again, the point of cutting out her legs is to make sure that she can't just sort of run away from all this and do anything, right? Like, it becomes too much for her. She's trying to hedge against it. Same with how her tongue gets cut off, so she doesn't ever say the god's name in vain because of the pain, right? Again, she's someone who's, again, her faith goes against her pain thresholds. She's able to deal with it a lot more than most. Again, Arena doesn't show that same level of dedication to the cause. Well, that's a new reveal on the precise wording that's not on ours. That's not on your site, if I recall correctly. I don't think I have Anastasia's stuff there, no. Like I said, get Abyssal Archive. Abyssal Archive covers everything that's not on my site, because my site only covers stuff that when I was originally posting this stuff on Reddit before the book was fully finished as even a manuscript. So, again, Abyssal Archive covers every single translation thing you could possibly want to know about in terms of the precise wording. Alright, let's try not to die here, folks. Dang it. I was about to say, if I died because I wasn't looking there. But how's she then sitting like that in her default animation? In the cinematic, it's before she cut off her legs. That's the idea, right? The impression we're supposed to take from the cinematic when she's, like, normal, compared to when she's in there, though I think her model technically still has, I can't remember if her model still has the legs, or they actually did, like, remove them in the imprisoned stuff. I have to double check on that. Doesn't come straight to my mind, but the idea seems to be that she was, of course, she was a firekeeper, right? So she's been a firekeeper for a while, considering how she has the ash of the bonfire on her, right? So she's out and about, tending to the flame. But she's been tending it for so long that the ash has completely stained her white, or ivory white, holy women clothes, gray. Now, what is she gonna do with that information? All this time has passed, she's suffered through all that pain, and still no Lord of Cinder has shown up, right? No successor to Gwyn. Well, eventually, she might get thoughts of, oh my god, is this too much? Is this worth it at this point? And that's where it's like, okay, I can't be thinking like that. Again, her tongue's already been, according to the Crestfallen Warrior, he thinks that's already been cut off back in her, not her village, but her homeland, in this case, Astora. And the idea being is like, okay, well, she's gonna try to go the extra mile now by cutting off her legs, locking herself in that prison, so there's no way she can escape, right? Like, she can't walk out, or climb out or something like that with her legs there. She can't really get far or anywhere, so she's either gonna die human, or she's gonna live the rest of eternity as a firekeeper. What are those things sticking out of Quelaag's nest? Roots. Roots or branches, you could argue, I suppose. But, again, giving you a hint of there being more, of the large, tree stuff that's down below. You can argue whether this is actually a piece of the Bed of Chaos or just some of the stuff of the Arch Tree, similar to what we see with the Great Hollow there. Obviously, we can see some of the roots from the Bed of Chaos coming out from the Izalith core area. We also see other roots that come from the other direction, on the other side of Izalith and stuff like that. And generally speaking, the area would be located, parallel and in some cases below where the lower world seen in the cinematic and, of course, Ash Lake is in this game, so. This one's the last one. Do I want to deal with it? No. Oh, darn it, I need the ring. So, yeah. Okay, we'll kill you and get the ring on. Because I don't want to risk getting killed when I'm not looking again. There. Oh, okay, buddy. Yeah, you do that. Her model has her legs missing. Okay, good to know, Sneed. Oh, I want you out of this corner. I can't backstab you repeatedly if you do this. Come on, get this way. There we go. Much better. Okay. Gosh, I hate these mosquitoes. There we go. Pickaxe! There we go. Mining! Again, so gain the earth. The idea, of course, is that Blighttown, and likely the reason for the conflict we see in Blighttown, is for the purposes of the split between God-fearing men and the servants of chaos. As we can see, Blighttown has incorporated much of the chaos into their society. Although, hey, you know, they're still starving and sick, so situation hasn't really changed that much. But hey, they're at least happy in faith. Oh, they found religion. Oh, right. What do we want to replace it for? Fair Lady stuff, because we're not going to talk to her for a while. We'll go back to Quelana now. Let us see. You're gonna tell us, right?
Ah, there you are.
Now we've killed Quelaag, rung the bell.
You.
Now she's,
Let us begin.
So she, after we ring the bell from, I can't remember if it's defeating Quelaag or, yeah, I think it's, yeah, you have to ring the bell, right? So we've rung the bell. So obviously Quelana here, she has to know what's going on with Quelaag, because if she gets word on the grapevine by being little invisible girl overhearing, residents of Blighttown, then we can imagine she knows definitely about what Quelaag's been doing up till late. And so she knows that if we've rung the bell of awakening, that means we've most likely killed Quelaag and dealt with that. So we've proven ourselves in that regard. So before, although we didn't get the dialogue, she's all like, "Oh, Witch of Izalith, oh, don't talk, please don't mention her. I left my mother and my sister, I abandoned them, and you know, now I'm out here questing and all that stuff," right? Now, notice how in that dialogue she never clarifies exactly when or why she abandoned them. This will be important for going forward.
The Witch of Izalith.
Oh no, she does have the dialogue here.
Do not speak of her.
So we ask her?
I abandoned my mother and sisters and fled to this land. Now I roam these parts, feigning ablution and pretending to seek answers.
So the Japanese is more like, "Oh, you know, I'm a coward." Now.
Pyromancy is the up, but always I would
Ah, darn it. Do I have to
no
go?
luck.
Hmm?
Well, young pupil, you must have patience, but do not keep...
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna have to do that when we come back, because she doesn't want to chat right now. I bet you have to wait at the bonfire, and I do not want to have to go through this swamp again and again. Sorry, guys. I guess the Izalith lore is gonna have to wait. When does she appear there? Is she always there? If you're talking about Quelana, she only spawns when you have a max pyromancy flame. So, again, the concept of her using her powers like Undead Rapport, though obviously in later games when we have more than just Undead to use this spell on, it gets called just Rapport. Again, it's a charm spell. So the idea being is that she essentially used the power of fire to distract us, so that way she's invisible, quote unquote, right? Like, we are so distracted by the flame, we're not able to see her. And our ability to have a strong pyromancy flame apparently resists that in a way where she's like, "Oh, you could see me with the body of man, huh? Well, okay, fine. You have talent for pyromancy. You want to learn pyromancy like Solomon?" And that's, of course, sort of how that goes from there. Some version of her imprisoned model doesn't have the lower legs, but the full skirt is still positioned as if there are legs in there to hold it up, as opposed to collapsing to flat cloth because they weren't legs. Again, there are models of her with her legs in the files, if I recall correctly. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they just kept the same sitting pose and stuff, because there is actually an old cutscene that has her sitting outside in the thing. So they probably just reused that. Like, yeah. Alright, so that is done. What else are we, where are we gonna go from here? I guess now it's going to be the other bell, huh? Say bye to Blighttown, chat. We're not coming back here for a while. Oh my. Fine. Fine, I'll kill you. Oh. No chaos flame for me, thank you. Ah, we can ignore this. Should be fine. The Quelaag spiders in Blighttown seem more like spiders at this point. The only people elements left are badly warped arms and a hollow head used to skin flap with flamethrower. Yeah, they're based again. The point is then again using they're the diseased people. They're the diseased of chaos. The idea that these diseased residents of Blighttown have taken the chaos power, and we actually have a cut enemy, which is essentially a hollow with some of the spider-like appendages growing out. This would later seemingly become the inspiration for the Dark Souls 2 spider hollow enemy, or not hollow enemies, but you get what I mean. Spider corpse enemies. The idea, of course, being that we see the development process into becoming a quote-unquote Quelaag spider. It's actually really cool seeing, like, again, similar to the dogs with the chaos fire, sort of burning from within and emanating inside under the skin and all that. Like, really neat. I almost wish they had kept that enemy, but it's fine. Blighttown is already filled with all sorts of enemies. Oh. Now, I do want to try Dragon Zombie again, but I don't want to have to climb all the way back up here, so we're gonna wait for Dragon Zombie until after I get my my Firelink bonfire back. So that means we're waiting until after Anne Orlando. Did I go the right way? Oh, I went the wrong way, didn't I? I have to go up the dog wheel. Oh, bullshit. Yeah, that was more about puppeteering the bodies of the dead, yeah. The Dark Souls 2, yeah, Dark Souls 2 enemies, it was cool seeing that idea brought back, though, and reused. Alright, I'm just here for some souls. I'll be leaving right away. Can't rush Blighttown, apparently. Feels bad. Vintage Blighttown. Sucks to be diseased and chaos, I suppose. But hey, you guys are happy with it. You chose this! Alright, where are those souls? Huh? Oh, it's up here, isn't it? Gotta go all the way back down. It's so high! I got myself so lost! So I guess we're gonna end this with Gargoyle, so we can do Sen's Fortress next time. That'll be cool. You know, I should probably spend these souls on level ups now that, when I get back. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the bonfire and do that, because clearly I can't trust myself to navigate this place with 30k souls on the line. I'm too stupid. Oh my. There we go. Let's see, we go this way. let's see. We get the level up now. Alrighty. And we are gonna... Oh, so close! So close to 30, and then I'll be done for a bit. Nice. Do we have anything? No. Alright, so we just gotta deal with this 8k souls. There's the wheel. Oh. I guess we'll come back to this side of Blighttown some other time in order to explore. Who knows? Maybe I'll like homeward bone my way back after. Yeah, because I want to do gargoyles first, so I don't want to have to enjoy all the running around trying to get the various items there that I'm not going to use. So I think I talked about it enough when I was talking about Easterners last stream. Hey, doggy, keep on working there, bud. You're a great hamster. No, we want to go this way. Also, they might not have chosen if the egg showed up in the brain first. Also, is there a chance that the ambitious Quelaag could be seen as threatening if someone wanted to shed the parasites? Is there a chance that someone could be seen as threatening, as in that she would threaten them, or that they would just generally feel threatened by her if they wanted to do so? Your article mentioned her plans to basically continue her mother's work, so to speak, making her own sister a literal hive queen was part of it. Yes. Cut dialogue obviously makes this expressly clear, but we just see from Quelaag's behavior. She is trying to essentially, she wants to make the fair lady, her sister, her younger sister there, most likely younger, I should say. Actually, yeah, because she calls herself a big sister, yeah, so like, her younger sister into who's like, obviously, fair lady seems to be Quelaag's biggest fan. She stands, big mean bitch, spider mommy. And the idea being is that confident, ambitious Quelaag wants to turn her sister into a seedbed of chaos, much like their mom, so that way they can be able to add to the more demons that we see in Blighttown. Oh. Whether or not the crag spiders are supposed to be the final stage of that, they're still not treated as quote-unquote demons, even though they are creatures of chaos by the Black Knight weapons, at least. You can always argue, but that is the end goal, clearly. That is the direction things are going in. And again, with the way that the Covenant works... Oh! Dang it. I'm doing awful against these guys for once. As we can see with the purpose of the Covenant, the ones that are like the most elite members of it will be allowed come back to Izalith. They are trusted. They have given enough humanity to be treated with respect. Ah, darn, I thought I could outrange that. Well. There we go. Okay, so now we wait. Man, I want to get that double R2 off, but that seems like it's just never going to happen. As in, Quelaag might threaten them, or they'd feel threatened by her. So, either or. If you were, say, let's say, okay, so again, the point of the egg bear is that they've chosen to serve as this chaos, right? Let's say we have a situation where, like us, we happen to go against, like, crazy, or we accidentally get a egg on us, and we don't want to do so. Again, Engi clearly has no issue with that based on the circumstances. His is basically like, hey, I'm so glad to see that you're a chosen, dedicated servant, but, you know, getting on your head is kind of, eh. So, like, maybe... Oh, wait, right, no dragon zombie. Maybe you want to excise that, so he makes an exception for us in that case. He's like, well, I'm not going to need these acorns or anything like this, right? Because I've embraced the fair lady. I don't need to be eating these... I don't need to be eating this and having the parasite removed. So, yeah, I can imagine that she might feel threatened if the idea is that you want to get rid of it permanently, and it's not like, say, an Engi scenario. But again, if you've got... The chances that that's happening are going to be incredibly low. Because again, how many people are encountering that many Chaos Servants that have their parasites going wild like that. Obviously, we have to kill Quelaag, get past them, and go into the deepest parts where most other Chaos Servants with the egg, well, I should say egg bearers are, in order to do that. So, not a very likely scenario. Again, clearly Engi assumes the best of us when he sees us with eggs on our head. He doesn't think, oh, well, maybe you're just a monster. I mean, sorry, maybe you're just, maybe you just got attacked by monsters. Is our boy back there yet? Do I have to head back to the depths again? Nope, there he is. I think that went through his shield. That's impressive. We are strong. I wasn't even locked on to you. Sorry, mate. Alright. No more distractions. Let's see. Can I do this? Alright. No! Why'd you stop running? Ah! I must have been too slow on the double tap. Enki's all in on the Fair Lady herself and only maintains the fan club book. No! No! Well, we're running by all the enemies today, chat, and we're going all the way to Andre. Who cares about a curio seller? Sorry, Dummel. You made this hell for me, so no. Engi's on the presumably Trulio shell, and she already turned her sister into a little kid factory, which just seems kind of mean. Again, Fair Lady is quite happy to do this. They're doing it for the sake of their mother and their family back home. So again, all of it is done in the service of chaos. So you can argue about the justification for it, but again, it's just turning her mom. It's just turning the Fair Lady into a firekeeper, and then use that chaos plus humanity to lay some eggs. So it's not like the cruelest thing imaginable, especially if the Fair Lady, as we can see, is quite willing. She's quite sad that she's not able to keep doing what her sister wants. Well, try killing Anastasia isn't that big of a deal, Loki 2 hours ago. It's not that big of a deal until I decide I need to do stuff around Firelink when I don't have a bonfire at Firelink. Yeah. That's just me being a dum-dum. I should have taken into account that I don't have that bonfire, but I didn't. Alright, get out of my way, thank you. Fair Lady seems like an easily abused pushover in this case, though. And it's for a cause of playing God rather than potentially trying to rebuild their home. Well, the purposes of playing, quote-unquote, playing God is to rebuild their home. I mean, like, if we're talking about playing, we're talking about quote-unquote gods, right? Like, these are arrogant people by their nature who would call themselves deities, so, yeah. I mean, that kind of just comes with the territory. Up near where the Hollows throw the bombs. Are you talking about the Undead Bird Night Scout or something else? We go this way. Yes. Okay, and we're back up. Everything is coming together. And hopefully... Oh. Hopefully I don't kill myself by doing that! Oh boy! Oh my. Oh, you can actually drop down into the underbridge from above and get to Dom Hall, but you will have to jump back up near where the hall. Yeah, we're not gonna risk it, because clearly I can't be trusted to jump. I mean, keep in mind, Night Scout. Again, there's indications that Quelaag really gets worked up and is sad over the current state of her sister. And as we can see, she is still trying to get the humanity, which seems to actually be helping make her better. So while it is obviously for a larger goal, there does seem to be legitimate emotional weight over it, and there is the idea that they have a loving sisterly relationship. So again, I just don't think the idea of like, oh, she's just trying to use her for the plan. It's like, a little bit more to it than that. Again, can you argue even consensual? All parties agreed. The idea of using you as a baby factory for expanding your numbers for a demon civilization, you could make a case. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the most moral, but listen, I'm also not part of a dying civilization that's desperate to do anything in order to break out of its unwinnable scenario. Either stay in their old ruin with no hope, or reach out in order to get that human, in order to reach out and get new followers, servants, and ultimately demons, and expand outward before you get literally sacrificed for Gwyn's plans. Well, not really Gwyn's, but Anne Orlando's plans. The biggest loss of souls I ever had in this game was from that jump on my first playthrough. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to imagine how many souls that was. Like, I can imagine you, like, being like, ah, yeah, it's fine, I'll be able to do that. That's an easy jump, and then you mess it up. The fair lady, up near where the hollows of the... But the demons seem more animalistic, killing each other for crude bone axes or being little... They're not killing each other, per se. They use... Again, there's this sort of idea that they use each other for bones and things like that in terms of creating their weapons. Yes, they also, though, use pieces of arch trees and things like that. And again, we see the same thing even in, say, Dark Souls 3 to the same extent. They still have, like, say, stuff like the Capra Demon with their crude... I forget the exact kind of metal, but essentially, you know, metal weaponry and stuff. Like, it's part of the culture. Hey, we take some of the bones of our kindred and we'll use that. Again, remember, they worship and respect chaos. The power of chaos, of course, being rooted, of course, in the into their soul, even, and as we see in Dark Souls 3, demonstrated by the unique demon souls and stuff like that. But the point being is that the soul, and of course, the soul is produced by blood. Blood we see produced in things like the things like in bone marrow and things like that. So yeah, of course, there's going to be a huge focus on using like the bones of your kindred and stuff in the culture. And as far as animalistic is concerned, again, we see, Capra Demon with the, his metal, machetes, and of course, he's the local mob boss in the area. Again, Quelaag and the Fair Lady are proof that just because you're a demon doesn't mean you're, like, say, total, complete, monster. I guess we should say a fairly mature demon, right? Like, you can argue with the parasites how much they're thinking, right? Like, they're babies. They're baby, chaos parasite things. But yeah, there's, yeah, the animalistic thing just doesn't work, because there's a culture, there's a civilization to the Chaos Demons. Obviously, Dark Souls 3 expands on that even further by showing that even when the witches are, well, mostly no more, I should say, rather, when the Witch of Izalith is no more, they start forming their own kingdom with the Chaos Witches that are left, namely the Fair Lady and ultimately Quelana, to continue the civilization and keep Izalith alive, at least in spirit. Well, maybe they had one in the past, but if she's using her sister as a broodmare to make her spider beast instead of me, Quelaag seems pretty twisted, and the Fairy Lady has bad priorities. Again, you can argue this, but again, I'm saying this in the context of their civilization is dying, so the option is either, and their options have been either sit tight and just wait for the end to come, like their parents, like their, well, I shouldn't say parents, but like the mother and some of the other sisters are doing, or strike out on your own and try to salvage this civilization before, you know, literally meets its end by way of an undead hero. The demons are limited to each other's corpses and stray chunks of metal and rock even 1,000 years later, though. Meanwhile, the buildings are crumbling and the stars and brigades are crumbling. Again, they're all a bunch of warriors. I'm not expecting them to be the greatest in terms of blacksmiths or anything like that. That seems to be the general idea. And again, if the argument is again for intelligence, again, you have the Chaos Witches, who are again perfectly sane and sentient. So if there's even an argument there of, oh, well, you know, maybe Chaos Demons aren't that smart. Again, even in Dark Souls 3, we can see they form an entire civilization with kings and trying to live a normal civilization. They're just not really good at, they're just not, they don't have the skills for building. They don't seem like they'll ever be more than semi-animal and pushing dogs and hollows around at most. Again, I guess we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. If you can't see the advanced culture being inherent there, then c'est la vie.
Well, you seem to be doing all
right? Need anything forged?
I don't need anything from Andre, I don't think, because we need Twinkling Titanite to upgrade this. So I think we're good. Anything?
I know little
Nope.
of the time.
Okay, fine. Gotcha. Right. Fine. Need 3k more for the upgrade. We might be able to handle, gargoyles, though, at this point, because if we can handle Quelaag, we can definitely handle 2 gargoyles, I think. Let's go here. Soldier's Helm. Again, I can't wait till we get Frampt and I can sell some of this stuff. That's probably the best part about this entire whole ringing the bell scenario. Actually, you guys give me 200, right? So that's 600. I don't think that's gonna be enough, yeah. Yeah, you don't even give me 200. You give me... Ah, darn it. I'm not paying attention to my health! Warrior can have, like, crude side job, and hopefully the witches who built Izalith would know how to make stuff. Even the Blighttown guys may. Well, evidently not, as we pointed out with the monument made here. Oh, speaking of, we didn't talk about that. So there is, in fact, lore we can talk about here. Thank you for the reminder. Change equipment. Yeah, that'll make it. Also, why am I not wearing my thief mask? There we go. I'm an idiot. There we go. So, again, the idea is that these are the apparel or attire of Quelana, the witch, as we can see, but obviously we see it's worn by all the sisters, not just her. Most likely, much like with the case with Oscar, this was probably items we would originally have acquired from Quelana herself when we killed her or something, and then they changed it and put it on that other corpse in the demon ruins. Again, the point being here, of course, is the idea that she is a mother or founder. If I recall correctly, they actually translate the thing as founder in the leg item. But anyway, the point is, of course, where's my hat? There we go. There we go. The point is, of course, is that this is something that she's worn, and by extension, her sisters have worn since before the Age of Fire is. Now, again, in terms of when the Age of Fire begins, we're told that it goes back. The quote-unquote beginning of the Age of Fire is a period that starts around as early as them finding the Lord Souls. So again, the souls that have them become kings, quote-unquote. So the idea, again, goes back to this concept of you don't have there's no idea of, being... those who found the Lord Souls were, quote-unquote, animals, though they had a very, they have obviously this idea of being tribal. They had these crude clothes that would help them survive the elements, like, again, poisons and the like, right? And the general idea we see here is, of course, the Quelana and her sisters continue to wear these clothes even after all that. So, again, very interesting insight into how there was, even though they were quote-unquote animals, they still had, again, at least a tribal culture, but they're not considered quote-unquote people because they don't have the civilization of kings and organized hierarchy and advanced stone cities and architecture and all that type of stuff that, is the stereotypical sort of Victorian-era outlook of what constitutes you as a civilized person. You're not subhuman or something like that. Imagine the smell. Oh, you're gonna steamroll gargoyles? Well, that's good to know. Now, let's see. Yeah, that's about all I want to get to. So the idea, of course, being is that we see that there's a daughter of chaos who is, in fact, dead on that altar. Again, this very likely deals with the incident of, the war between Gwyn and Izalith. Well, I should say Anor Londo and Izalith there, but the idea being is that there, of course, was that conflict there. We'll talk more about that when we get up into Anor Londo and see more of the stuff related to the knights there. I've died, so I need to get my souls back. Gotta put that armor away, probably. I turned them as only making clothes and tribes and such until after the Lord Souls. The intro depicts the first non-dragons as hollows, hardly even able to stand hollows. it doesn't show the first necessarily. Again, we'll talk more about the evolution of mankind and other races in the future. Suffice to say, though, the idea is that the medials essentially were a tribal culture, basically. And again, they did, again, the idea being that Quelana, etc., and her mother were acting as in that sort of crude tribal culture scenario since then, and they've kind of stuck with it because, again, their idea is to get close to nature when they became flame sorcerers in order to be close to this world related to fire, right? So we don't see until the creation of Chaos the same stone city architecture being built, right? Like that was built again after the creation of the Flame of Chaos and all the fallout from that. So it also comes with this interesting implication about them as the witch and her daughters, of course, being sorcerers and all that, though Seath obviously is the first one to invent sorcery. He's the founder of sorcery, or I think the localization puts it like the grandfather or godfather of sorcery or something like that. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters have also practiced sorcery, and makes you wonder, what type, were they practicing sorcery even before, when they were still tribal people, before finding the Lord Souls and getting all wrapped up in this fire and life business? Well, Dark Souls 3 does hint to that when we get their staff in that game, with its dark, what's it called? The, dark enhancement to, sorceries and the like, so. Yeah, I want that. I still don't think we're gonna have enough. So I guess it's gonna be, we'll steamroll gargoyles, hopefully. And be done there. So I guess more like the Black Monument in 2001: A Space Odyssey, but much more accelerated due to the Lord Souls being mystical. Well, the idea being essentially is that, obviously, when you get such high concentrations of power, there's going to be hierarchies forming over that power, right? Like, if I have the power, again, the idea that they had powers worthy to become kings because they had such significant advantage over everyone else. They had the power to dominate everybody. And obviously, you have examples like, say, Gwyn, for example. He's more than willing to share that power with the rest of his tribe if they are willing to submit to him. Now, of course, we see Nito and Izalith do something, do their own little things similarly. Yeah, I don't think... Well, actually, it just might. I'm actually really close to getting that level up. But these guys really don't give that much, so... But it's... We'll kill them anyway. Because they don't just need 13k. I think I need, like, 13 and, like, 300 or something, so... Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Okay, we just killed gargoyles. Hope I don't die and lose these souls. By stone, do you mean carved stone or crude stone compared to the stoneworks of Anor Londo, Drangleic, etc.? Yeah, like like what we see in, again, Izalith, Anor Londo, things like that. Just, advanced stone, actual, like, carved stone city, carved stone blocks put together, things like that, intricate designs and all that type of stuff. You see this repeatedly done. It's done to a lesser extent in Demon Souls, but you see it especially in Dark Souls and Dark Souls 1. Miyazaki plays on that old trope, as I said in a past stream, of, like, sort of, like, civilized men, they're the ones who live in, like, the urban centers, the urban areas. If you live in a rural forest or backwood or something like that, then you're, you're some, like, unsophisticated yokel, or in some cases just, subhuman, right? And this is both played on as sort of, like, somewhat true, like, say, the Grus, the Lion Clan, etc., things of that nature. But obviously there's also, like, say, the Pyromancers, for example, kind of showing off how that isn't always sort of the case and like that. I meant more lows that the Lord Souls gave Sapience, alias Souls function in Demon Souls. No, not in that case. Because, again, all these lives have souls and they're cultivating it on their own. It's not like, oh, they're just around but they're soulless or whatever. Like, no. The idea of the Lord Souls, in terms of what they give you to the player, they don't make you smarter or more intelligent in a way by itself. The idea, of course, being is that the Lord Souls gave you power. The power to be a king. The power to rule over your others. The power to organize them into hierarchies. And that organization is what allows the crazy advanced developments we see from that point onward, right? Like, they're not just a loose community, kind of just all existing, and, maybe they'll help each other, maybe they're not, right? Like, there's some, especially in terms of, like, Gwyn Gwyn has bigger plans. He wants to be in control, and gets Nito and Izalith to also kind of be looped into the big plan, and ultimately the Pygmy and stuff like that. Again, we'll talk about those more as we go forward there. Izalith looks like a developed city rather than something I'd call primitive and tribal. Again, that's what I'm saying. That city is built after. The only reason we start seeing that city is that it's built after the whole creation of the Chaos Flame and the destruction and the fallout. From there, like, okay, now we're going to build the entire capital of Chaos on top of that and around that and all that. And then from there, we start seeing them have a quote-unquote proper civilization. But the actual women themselves, as we can see, they're even though Izalith became a quote-unquote lord, a king, her focus is more so on her sorcery, developing her arts, obviously, her personal endeavor, and again, this idea of being close to nature, keeping that sort of tribal heritage down, because they are, they're all about now, at least for sure, flame and life, and trying to develop that. Ruined now, but never crude, I'd say. When we're talking about crude, we're talking about the clothes themselves, not the city. Maybe I misspoke there, but I don't recall. As we can see, gargoyles are, well, gargoyles. They're statues that have life and can come to life because they possess souls. Now, I wonder if we can get the tail on this one. Ah, dang it. I dodge rolled instead of attacking. Yeah, first try. Okay, yeah, we're running over this boss. As we can see, these gargoyles can breathe fire, much like dragons. Also, why do you not have a tail? Sucks to be you, huh, buddy? They do wear armor, though, as we learn, this armor is purely ornamental. It's made of bronze, though, which is going to be useful in knowing where their origin is, as we will talk about more when we hit Orlando. Well. Yeah, there we go. Now we get twin humanities. I don't know if this is supposed to mean the gargoyles are female. I would assume it's rather because we fight 2 of them in one fight. And unlike, say, the 4 kings who are males, so instead we get 4 regular humanities from them. From the gargoyles, we get a pair of humanities instead. Anyway, we shall now go forward. Up here? The Lord Souls were the first souls the Hollows found in this case. They also granted tremendous power to the respective first person to find each, but these basic soul cores were the first to help. The first souls, if you're talking about in terms of humans... again, the humans already had souls, and the souls that they have now from their Lord Soul is a result of the Pygmy Lord splitting the Dark Soul into individual humanity, and then offered that. So that's spreading it among the kind, as it were. Again, you cannot have life without a soul. It is absolutely essential. In Demon Souls, the soul was just the source of consciousness, right? Now, it's the source of life itself. So in Demon Souls, when you were soulless, your body was still alive, but you were a mindless monster. That's what makes undead, as from a narrative, in a meta-narrative perspective, supposed to be so provocative. Because in Dark Souls, the soul is the source of life itself. So then why are undead hollows able to still move, even though they're mindless monsters? Shouldn't they just be dead? Very curious, right? So that's the narrative. The narrative twist that they're trying to allude to there. But, like, yeah. The moment you see the cinematic with the quote-unquote hollows, as you say, there in the opening, they already have souls. They're alive and moving and all that. Granted minds, the smaller souls followed for the latecomers or were distributed from the Lord Souls. Yeah, we could definitely see that the idea that souls then, for the Lord Souls themselves, power will be distributed, because again, this gives you the idea of hierarchy, right? Like, I will give you a share of my power, and you will have your own authority with that power by doing it, right? Like, you sort of have the king gives it to the ones that his inner circle who become, like, the noble class, right? Stuff like that. That boss fight qualifies as bullying. Don't be mean, Sneed. It's not bullying. Anyway, as we can see here, the, Sen's Fortress, quite the big tower, leads us all the way over to that entrance to Orlando there, though obviously that will not be the end. We can also see Seath's Tower already from this far up. The feudal lord's castle shall be breached. We will no longer be in the undead town below the castle. We endeavor to reach up to the castle. Okay, let's do this. I don't mean humans, I mean all bipedal life forms, gods included. The Lord Souls were the first souls that seemed to be found, spread out to people, etc. In terms of the first souls that you get to, yes, the idea is that they found a soul which was a, yeah, they found essentially the largest concentration of soul power near the first flame, because again, they're captivated by the fire, it draws them in, they're like, oh hey, big giant soul. Like, each medial or the Pygmy Lord found one of these, and they're like, okay, so we're just gonna take these souls, and then we're gonna make it, or so we're gonna, you know, sort of have this dominion of power that we're gonna now control over, right? Now the Pygmy sort of freely seems to give it among his kind and spread it out, though obviously with Dark Souls 3 we get the clarification that there was definitely a royalty who had a larger chunk than the others. You know, all pigs are equal, but some more so than others. But there is, of course, this idea that something similar happens, say, with the medials of Anor Londo, where Gwyn is giving his soul to those who all agree to be, again, as long as they all recognize him as king, they all get a share, and as we can see, they all use some degree or some variant of sunlight power. As we will be talking about more with, like, the blacksmith deity and the like going ahead. But the real point is that you need any soul from the first flame, and the Lord Soul was the first soul Gwyn, for example, got drawn to the biggest flame and all. What do you mean by soul from the first flame? Again, like, all these guys already had souls, like, pre-doing so. Like, that's why they're alive and stuff like that. What the Lord Souls did is they enabled these individual, again, these lords, to have dominion, and therefore be able to organize their people in a way for the perspective of developing civilization. Especially, again, because life in general has this idea of working and moving, unlike, say, the Dragons of Stone, where, again, no disparity, no differences, no desire to have something different, right? No, like, you know, haves or have-nots type of deal. Where did the soul come from? From the first flame. The soul is the power of disparity itself. So, when the first flame came to exist, it also created disparity, so souls. And that souls, as we can see, sort of like burst out and became, or everything now, everything that's defined as quote-unquote life to one degree or another, such as the dragons, though they're not really, again, because they have stone bodies, they're not really true life in the same way that us living creatures of flesh, say, are. Again, we'll talk more about the creation of humans and kind as we get back to Tomb of the Giants and things like that. But the idea being, therefore, is that the power of the soul, therefore, like when the soul bursts forth, naturally the residue, say some of the souls that might be left behind from this sort of event of the creation of fire and the disparity which resulted from that, the largest concentrations of disparity are naturally going to be found around the flame, which makes sense into why those who found the first flame, were captivated by the first flame, were drawn around toward the first flame, found these Lord Souls near the flame. Again, the English says within the flame, the Japanese use the term near or around, because obviously if it's within the flame, well, they ain't getting that, they're gonna get burnt. Well, if they had a soul to exist at all, like one soul in your counter down there, it was the power of the Lord Soul that made them more than animals. Well, yes, I agree that, but not in terms of, like, their intelligence. Again, they are tribal people already by this point, before they even find the Lord Souls. Again, there's this sort of trope, the idea that the tribesmen are treated sort of, again, like animals, like, say, the Lion Clan, the Grus, in some cases very literally in that case, to that end. But the point, of course, being is that civilization and personhood is defined by, of course, urbanness. To varying degrees. And obviously the game sort of plays around with that concept with, again, say, pyromancers versus, say, stuff like the heathens that live out away from the urban centers and places like that. Unlike, say, Demon Souls, where any soul, such as one tick on that counter, is fully sapient, truly a person, SMI. This isn't true. We get souls from soul-starved all the time. You just having a soul doesn't mean that you're not going to be soul-starved and crazy. Same thing with hollows. We loot from hollows who have souls, right? So, like, it's not necessarily the case that every soul that you just having a thing in your soul counter is going to do that. Also, this soul currency is separate from our actual soul. It's not been incorporated into our true soul, hence why it's this currency we can freely exchange. When we use that currency for level ups, that's when we add that power to change and increase the power of our own soul that drives us. But, like, us having 0 souls in our soul counter by itself doesn't mean anything. Obviously, in terms of game mechanics, it's used to reflect how, hey, we're losing souls, they're getting eaten, stuff like that. But that's why people want more souls in terms of trade and currency and all that. Because they want to have more souls that can feed the dark sign, and hopefully they can stave off the curse for longer. Obviously, though, death sort of is the be-all, end-all on that. For a lot of people, they're just like, well, I'm dead. Well, this sucks.
Greetings. I am Oswald of Karim, the Palm. Thou appearest to lack faith. Yet magnanimous are the gods. Cometh thou to confess, or to accuse? For indeed all sin is my domain.
Let us see. Learn gesture. Yep. So as we can see here, there's Oswald. He is a pardoner of Velka. Now, the term pardoner means like a prison chaplain, and we'll talk about that more when we get to the painting world. He's referred to here as... Okay, no, is it... Here we go. So, again, this idea of a bishop. The term bishop here means a priest, so it's a priest of Velka, the goddess of sin. And the idea being that Velka, as goddess of sin, manages sinners, so she's the one who defines what the sin is and then metes out the punishment. We can, for example, pay a soul indulgence, and we'll be able to essentially have ourselves removed from the sinner, the Book of the Guilty, the sinner record, essentially. And the idea being is that otherwise, the names will get ultimately forwarded to the Blades of the Dark Moon, so that way Gwendolyn and company can deal with us themselves. Try to bring punishment from the gods. As we can see, again, he's from Karim, so we see, of course, one of the purging stones. Again, this stone, it's called ash-colored. Again, remember, ash-colored is essentially saying it's gray, because, again, the gray in Japanese is literally basically ash color. That's how the kanji is. The idea, of course, being from these, we get the idea that Karim is a very gloomy nation. This is blamed on Astora, though we see it's true even in Dark Souls 3. But the idea being that, okay, Astora is apparently this bad dude that would give people reason to be a little depressing. Because, as we can see, the Earl essentially seems to take people and will turn them into these stones with which to divert curses, right? You can't really get rid of a curse, truly. What you do is you just move it to something else. So we use a purging stone to essentially transfer our curse into someone else who's been turned into this stone. And we'll talk more about that when we get to a certain enemy which also provides these stones. Nothing else to say here. We can obviously accuse people. And then, of course, the idea with karmic justice here tells us that Velka has black hair, which is will be relevant when we see more association with her and the color black in other instances. And, of course, the idea for Velka to be in charge of dealing with crime and punishment, essentially. Again, talisman made from her black hair. But rather, as we can see, Velka is a goddess associated with intelligence more so than with faith. And that the power of her own hair works best with someone who tries to understand the world around them, not someone who blindly believes in, say, stories that are told to them. And again, more stuff created from our store. The idea being that these likely were created in similar experiments. And of course, Velka herself is so strongly associated with Karim as in being similarly someone who uses, say, sacrificial rituals for the purposes of creating these ring of sacrifices, which essentially serve as kind of a, like, get out of jail free card, where if you're gonna get killed, these rings will die in your place. Now, obviously, you can't actually do, like, a Sekiro survival type of thing in this game, and it would be kind of broken if you had something like that in the middle of it, so instead what they do is they make it where you die, but you essentially don't, quote-unquote, suffer any actual tangible losses from your death, besides you having to run back to wherever you died to, so... cool little workaround there, but it gives us the idea that, again, in order to save a life, you have to sacrifice life from someone else or something else. Will there be a point in time where there are no more souls? No, because humanity exists. In Demon Souls, at least one soul is probably meant to literally be one soul. In Dark Souls, a Lord Soul isn't like 50,000 actual souls together. In Demon Souls, at least one soul. I mean, in terms of, like, the way the currency breaks down, stuff like that, I mean that beings approaching the first flame already brought to life by disparity were naked, miserable hollows. They weren't brought... I take issue with your wording. Anyway, again, we'll talk about this stuff more when we go forward, so... We're about to close out this, so let's do that. As we can see, the giants hear the bells of awakening, and they heard 2 bells. Must have great ears to be able to tell which one was rung, and they ultimately, the one that's in front of the... I think he's supposed to be right there, if I recall correctly. Opens the gate below so we can go. But before then, let us return home. Well, it would be my home if I had a firekeeper, but I'm an idiot. Still dead, guys? Yep. I'll be honest, I'm surprised that I'm that strong against gargoyles. I guess that's what happens when I get a bit... Like, if I was using my Morningstar, I imagine that fight would have been a little tougher. But I think it's this new weapon, man. This weapon is strong. I only upgraded it twice, and it's done so much. So much damage. Okay, is Frampt here? Yeah, we'll go save Rhea. Honestly, next stream might actually be Tomb of the Giant saving Rhea. Might be time, because I have a better weapon now. Hey, buddy.
Oh, hello. Well, you certainly... Myself.
Yep, yeah. Anything new?
Two things are...
Yeah, we got that. Yeah, don't worry, I'm just not interested in you. Oh, you. There we are.
Did you ring the second bell?
Yep.
That is incredible, I must say. But now we have a new problem. It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal. This is no laughing matter, I tell you.
Uh-huh.
Damn, that stench. And I was really beginning to like it here. Maybe it's time I do something about it.
And this is how we get him to leave? Yeah. So he doesn't like Frampt's breath.
Oh, hello there. You've been a stranger these days.
Yep.
Why?
What spectacular pyromancy? Tell me about it. I have never seen anything like it.
Now again, recall that that Laurentius wants to discover the primal pyromancies, the original pyromancies and stuff like that, so we show him chaos. And again, even though it's not explicitly called that, like Quelana's arts, we get the indication that yes, chaos is the original pyromancies, and of course this makes sense because pyromancy originates from the creation of the chaos flame. Like, they create chaos flame, they study it, they learn how to finally hold some of that power in their hands, they create chaos pyromancies. Quelana starts building non-chaos pyromancies from there, again, because they're all the witches are quote-unquote founders of pyromancy, under their mother being as like the first most of the founders, obviously, being the centerpiece to gluing them all together. But Laurentius, now that he sees that we have chaos pyromancy, is like, oh, well, this is new. Where'd you discover this? I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, there's actually this spider lady here, and she's got this guy named Ingi, and Ingi's be able to let you in if you join, and it's all great, man. It's all, you should just hang down there.
Why, yes, of course. Thank you for sharing. I'm still an able pyromancer. I shall locate her myself. I mean, you're dead, once again.
Nice.
The pyromancer's flame.
Yeah, we got that. This will be the last time we see him. Do I care? Maybe I want that? Honestly, I don't know. Nah, it's fine.
Goodbye, then. No, you
Yep. Alright, can't do that. Well, I guess we're just talking to Frampt then. Yeah, Giant was there just behind the statue. It's neat how you can find a way to climb up Dame in the fortress itself. Yeah, I really love, I both love and hate Sen's fortress. Sen's old castle. It's quite the experience. Twinkling weapons are very strong early game because each upgrade level is worth about 3 regular levels. You have the equivalent of a +9 weapon. Well, that explains a lot for sure. Here we go.
Hello. Was it you who rang the bell of awakening?
Yep, I rung them both.
I am the primordial serpent, King Seeker Frampt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn, chosen undead, who has rung the bell of awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate.
So the fate means the mission?
Do you seek such enlightenment?
Okay, so Frampt introduced himself as a primordial serpent, or a world serpent. The idea being is that it isn't necessarily, oh, we've been around forever, since, existence itself. No. The idea with the primordial serpents is they are world serpents. They are cosmopolitan. They aren't really necessarily, say, aligned with or at least shouldn't be aligned with a specific country or person or anything like that. They are about the world. They are trying to get the world on it. They're trying to help guide along to the world to its proper age, right? As Koth will elucidate. The idea, of course, with Frampt, however, is that he's introducing us with the idea that he's this person who will guide, who is this sort of like this this independent sage who is helping guide us. And he's like, hey, you know what? I'm a friend of Gwyn, which again, in the Japanese dialogue, Gwyn is always referred to as the Great King, except for characters like, say, Koth, because obviously Koth is not going to show Gwyn the respect for becoming the quote-unquote Great King in reference to him becoming Lord of Cinder. But the idea is that everyone basically refers to Gwyn as the, the Great Lord, the Great King. This isn't always translated in the localization. For the most part, they just call him Lord Gwyn. But item descriptions do, especially when talking about events from Gwyn in earlier his life, often will use just the term plain King Gwyn. Anyway, or of course his title as the Lord or the King of the Sun's Light. Obviously we want to hear about our mission, so finally we've rung the bells and Frampt is here to tell us about what our mission's all about. Coolio.
Very well. Then I am pleased to share. Chosen Undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. To this end, you must visit Anor Londo and acquire the Lord Vessel.
So again, we're essentially told, hey, your mission is to succeed Gwyn. You're going to become the new king. You're going to become the new great king. Woo! That sounds awesome. Great. I'm going to be Gwyn's heir. I get to be the heir of God. Wonderful. That's awesome. Woo! In order to do that, we have to go to Anor Londo through Sen's Fortress in order to continue with our mission. And that's going to be a trial in and of itself. Doesn't actually say this. You meet Quelana, though. You're the fair lady. Doesn't affect that. It's either or. It's also with I think it's also with Engi as well that you can. Or no, I think it's also he just joined the Pyromancer Covenant as well. Frampt is the OG Dung Eater. I suppose. This is probably the weirdest design in any From game. What are those things on his face? What? You don't like flesh whiskers? What? Nothing shows how wise you are than when you got flesh whiskers coming from your nostrils. If they sort of knew what a cat looked like, they have clearly never seen an actual snake.
I am pleased.
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah. Talk to us. Tell us more about our mission.
Those who seek the realm of lords must brave Sen's
Again, we're going to the country of the gods.
House of traps. Many have gone before you, but none have returned. Fate has chosen you, but proceed with caution.
So the idea is that, hey, we're someone with a mission, but others have also heroes, again, like Solaire tells us, heroes from centuries ago have also done this mission and gone through Sen's Fortress and all that, and, well, they haven't returned. Well, we should say not all of them have returned, and at least not in one piece, as we can see with the Baldur Knights and the Berenike Knights and stuff who have stayed with the parish. But the point being is that, of course, those who have challenged the mission have not made it past Sen's Fortress. It's obviously a place with traps and all that. But hey, if you want to go to the country of the gods, you got to prove yourself. Be careful. Yeah. Now, we can finally feed Frampt stuff. Yay. I'll do this probably off camera for, like, unique and generic and duplicate items.
Farewell.
But, yep. I'll make sure that I become the hero you want me to be. Also looks like a mustache. He cute. Feed him a toothbrush. That'd be great. Messed up how he'll literally eat the dung pie items. Hey, it's food. Frampt and Koth have pretty good designs. They're bastardized Asian dragons ending up as a snake and malformed human faces and their whiskers become flesh. Exactly. I think it's fine. I like it. Also look like mustaches. Exactly my point. Like, I like those flesh whiskers. They be cool. Now, Frampt does assign different values to items based on his personal disposition, it seems like. We'll talk about that more when we get later on and we start seeing really radical changes. But generally speaking, if it's stuff from the medials and the gods, he's generally positive about it. For the most part, he'll value it more than average. There are certain exceptions. And obviously, he loves Gwyn. I can't rest here, so we gotta go all the way back to Andre. Okay. You know what? I'm not using these enough, so... Take me back to Andre. I'm lazy. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I think this is good for endurance for a while. Let's focus more on our strength again in order to get my damage with my dagger up. Although... that's nice. Now, what about this? 5? So 4 plus enough for a dodge roll. Yeah, that'll work. So yeah, I think we can focus on strength now in order to deal with some of the bigger enemies. And I also have to start thinking about upgrading my my armor and stuff. What do I got? Maybe might spend my stuff on upgrading armor at some point, because I think I'm gonna stick with my armor at this point. I don't think I'm upgrading at this point in the game. I don't think there's anything I'm gonna be like, ah, yes, this is perfect for my thief roleplay. His teeth are something else entirely. Abysmal dental hygiene. Abysmal. I see what you did there. Question about the dragons. Could the true everlasting dragons from before the age of fire breathe fire? No, because there is no fire. Like, again, the first flame is like that, like it says, the first flame. The dragons breathing fire, seems to be a result, essentially, of their bodies their stone bodies, essentially rejecting the disparity, the souls, the power of flame that has become part of their very being. And so they essentially, because this is they seem to have developed the ability to breathe fire as sort of an instinctual rejection of that, almost. And that seems to be where the source of the power comes from, or at least that's the best rationalization I can come up with for exactly how these beings evolved this unique and peculiar ability in the wake of fire coming to exist. Which again makes sense, because again the idea of stone and fire affecting them, it's almost like belching up it's like when you belch up vomit or something, when you're trying to get rid of this foreign influence inside of you, right? So we will repair that. I think we're gonna call it here, guys, because we've done pretty much everything that I want to do today. We'll hopefully be able to go, like I said, we might either do Sen's Fortress. Probably before that, though, I'm gonna do Tomb of the Giants, just for the sake of us saving Rhea and starting to advance that quest line along, so we don't leave it to like end game. Plus, we gotta get to patches, right? I thought so. It occurred to me that any dragon that could breathe fire might actually be corrupted by the age of fire. Yeah, that would essentially be my take, something to that effect. So there truly are no real dragons left, not even at Ash Lake or Darkdragon Peak. No, there are real dragons, but if you mean in terms of a dragon unaffected by disparity or the power of fire, then no. Again, the species of the ancient dragons is the same species as Calamite, Dark Souls 3's Mother Dragon, the Stone Dragon of Ash Lake, Gaping Dragon, all of these are archdragons or ancient or old dragons. They're the same species as the ones that existed before fire existed. However, there is no archdragon which isn't affected by disparity. It affects the entire universe. So yeah, if we're thinking of, is there ever a dragon which is truly just stone? No, it would never be that way. It's just impossible. The best you can hope for is to transcend the limitations of being a creature of flesh, of that flesh life, and become a half mineral, half living, immortal dragon, right? That's the goal of, say, the Transcendent Apostles Covenant. So, the path to the dragon, as it were. But okay, that's what we're going to call it, guys. Hey, I-Man, I'm so sorry. You're coming right at the tail end of the stream. But I, Shemai, and good day to you. I'm finally here. Yeah, it's a shame. But there's something to say that you can just watch the VOD. So, again, I guess do that. I'm sorry, man. I really wish we could have had you here for longer, but we're gonna just have to deal with that. So until then, guys, it's so great having all these questions, all this interaction, get all the commentary and jokes at my expense. So bye-bye.